evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 Tonight UK. We are here, as you undoubtedly know, in China. So let's have a quick look, firstly, at what's actually going to be happening with regards to the drivers, etc. So, first things first, let's have a look at this Drivers' Championship as it stands at this moment in time. Okay, so leading the way, we have Dylan Platt for Alfa Romeo. He's currently on 40 points. Then we have Tom Stevens in the Mercedes. He's second on 36. Then we have Sean Gregory for Toro Rosso. He's third on 29. Callum White for Mercedes is fourth on 27. Fifth is Phil Harris on 19 for Rocket Williams. Then in sixth we have Tony Foster. 7, Gary McKenny. 8, Josh Diggles. 9, Ryan Leah. 10, Daniel Burt. Then we have Thomas Cook for Red Bull is 11. Adrian Rich is at 12. Anton Gillard for Williams is 13. And then we have some new drivers welcoming to the F1 Tonight race community. So the first one is Jake Sorrell for Ferrari. Then we have Tom Johnson for McLaren. Then we have Jordan Marshall for Renault. And then we have Callum Widdowson for Renault. And Ross Milburn for Toro Rosso. Unfortunately, no seats still in the Racing Point. Nikki, obviously, we've got a number of new drivers there, but let's have a look at the top 10. Dylan Platt at the moment leading the way with the Alfa Romeo, but close on his heels there is Tom Stevens. And apologies, I do apologise actually. I haven't even introduced you, Nikki. Apologies for that. Good evening, Nikki. How are you?
Good evening. Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, apart from not introducing you. Probably because I've been running around. So good to see you in the commentary box with me tonight for this UK race. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with Nicky, he actually races for Red Bull in the Netherlands League and is doing rather well, I believe, at the moment, aren't you, Nicky?
I believe so. From the past 2 races, so yeah, I think I'm at the top of the championship.
You are at the top of the championship for Netherlands at the moment. So yeah, I was just discussing this Dylan Platt, Tom Stevens. Only 4 points between them at this moment in time. It's been really close, isn't it? In this last 2 races, Australia and Bahrain with them.
Yeah, it's been really, really close. Especially Dylan Platt, really outstanding performances on both of the races. So yeah, looking forward to what he can do in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got, obviously, his teammate Callum White is very close in there. Sean Gregory as well, doing a great job for Toro Rosso on those 29 points. So it's still pretty close, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, okay, it's only race 3 coming up, but it is close, and hopefully it will maintain that through the rest of the season. So let's have a quick look at the teams in that instance. So, Constructors' Championship, leading the way at this moment in time is Mercedes on 63 points. Second is Alfa Romeo on 46. Third in the Constructors is Toro Rosso. Fourth is McLaren. And fifth is Rocket Williams. Then we have the remaining teams. Ferrari in 6. Haas in 7. Red Bull in 8. And Renault and Racing Point both on 0 points because they haven't had any drivers. But that will soon be resolved, as you can see. And I'm going to excuse myself and the drivers. I think Nikki can as well, because obviously we've got some new drivers. Literally, a couple of them only tested yesterday and the rest over the weekend. So, guys, if I get your names wrong, tough. I'll learn it, but for this week, tough.
Yeah, it's going to take some getting used to, but I'm sure we'll be able to get them right.
I'm sure we will. So this is the track, Shanghai International Circuit, and Circuit length is 5.451 kilometres or 3.387 miles. The race length is 305.066 kilometres or 189.559 miles. And we're looking at 56 laps. As always, 3 sectors. Sectors 1 takes us from the start finish to just beyond the sort of little dogleg there of turn 5. Then the middle sector takes us from turn 5 to just before turn 11. And then the final sector, obviously, from 11 to the start-finish line. 2 DRS points and 2 DRS detection points. So the detection point for the first is just as you're coming round, starting to come around turn 12, and that activates on the exit or on the straight effectively after 13, leading you down towards turn 14. The second activation point is just before you get to the final corner, turn 16, and that activates on the start-finish straight, bringing you down to turn 1. It's quite a tricky track. Obviously, you were out there on Thursday. The snail, as I call it in Sector 1, those turns 1, 2, 3, and then you've got the reverse then of 4. Quite tricky, especially when you're coming off a high-speed straight, if you've got DRS as well, isn't it?
Yeah, your tyres get a really heavy load through that corner. It's understeer palace, I think people call it, understeer town or whatever. Yeah. It's really hard to get that corner right.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not the easiest ones. And then also, funnily enough, I mean, the middle sector obviously has its tricky moments, especially when you're coming around turn 7, which you can effectively do at full pelt, although not with a full fuel load. Turn 11, 12, 13, as you're coming into the third and final sector. Turn 11, obviously, you've got that sort of hard right uphill, and then you've got that hard left, uphill, and then you've got that short right hand of 12 leading into 13. Again, that turn 12, as you're coming out 11 into 12, that can be quite tricky. And you can see a few drivers getting wrong-footed there with just laying down too much power too early, can't you?
Yeah, if you too much power too early. That corner is really hard to judge.
Yeah.
You tend to go full throttle straight away, but if you do that, you understeer out. So it's really getting the sweet spot under, getting the right line, right amount of throttle, because it's an important corner because there's quite a long straight at the end of it. So yeah, it's again a tricky one.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is a very tricky one. So that's the circuit. That's where we're going to be this evening. And what I'm going to quickly do now is while we just get ready now to join the drivers on track. And we have Q1, which is running at the moment. So let's join them now. So we're now into that Q1. And you can see a number of drivers there have gone out. Nikki, if you could just run through the situation with the new drivers, starting at the back, etc., and the grid, would that be okay?
Yeah, you're going to have to show the track. Can't, obviously.
Just do their short names. We'll go on to the long names during the course of the race. They're just going to have to live with it for now.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically we've got in there Toro Rosso, we've got Ross Milburn, a.k.a. R. Milt tonight. Then we got in the Haas, Cameron, I'm going to have to pronounce his surname right. Let me see. Well, I'm just going to sort that one out later. Then we've got in the Ferrari, we've got Jake Sorrell, Jay Sort tonight. And in the McLaren, we've got Tom Johnston, T. Joe tonight. So, yeah, 4 new drivers have been tested. Yeah, looks pretty good. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they can do in the race.
Ah, Nicky, that was sublime, mate. You did that beautifully.
Was it?
It was great. Yeah, it was definitely great.
still searching for that list. See what the surnames are.
Well, you see, while you were sort of scrapping through that, I was desperately looking through my list as well, which is why I left you to it, to be perfectly honest, Nicky. Because I thought, it's better for Nicky to look the fool because he only does it, once a week. I have to do it twice a week, so I couldn't afford that.
And this is actually my third time as well. So
we've just been watching Tom Stevens actually, as he's decided to put it into a wall. Funnily enough, so he has. So unfortunately, Tom Stevens has decided to go into the wall there. His teammate Callum White is out on track at this moment in time. So not too sure if Tom's got a penalty. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to conclude this season on the league option of multiplayer. So it's sort of created a few problems because we obviously have to go back to the old school way of setting up. But league format basically doesn't work for us at the moment, does it, Nicky?
No, it doesn't. It just creates. It's a nice. The way they've intended it to be is very nice, but unfortunately it doesn't quite work for a number of reasons. So yeah, we've decided that we're just going to deal with open lobbies, just because it's easy to set up and we know it works. So hopefully until Codemasters make the lobby so that they work properly, we're definitely going to start using the league format. It is very promising.
Yeah, it certainly looked good. It's just unfortunate that they haven't actually, crossed the T's and dotted the I's. So let's hope that Codemasters can actually get that sorted out, and hopefully before too much time, which will obviously make. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's why they created that league format, was to facilitate things for the multiplayer and the leagues. So let's hope they do get it resolved. So at this moment in time, how many drivers have we actually got with us this evening?
Well, we've got 15 drivers, but 4 new ones. This is their first inaugural race. They are not allowed to qualify because of a certain reasons and what we've learned over the past 6 seasons in the Dutch version, and Tom Stevens has put his car in the wall. So there's only 10 drivers left. So basically,
we did start with 15.
Qualifying.
So normally what happens is, obviously, we haven't got a full field as yet. We do have some drivers missing. We have, unfortunately, one of our new drivers missing. Missing? That's a good one. Missing. Jordan Marshall. He's actually the second Renault driver. He's not joining us this evening because it's his birthday. So want to send out a big happy birthday to Jordan Marshall. And look forward to seeing him next week at Baku, but we will touch on that. So, yes, basically what happens is you have a field of 20 drivers. Q1 takes that field of 20 drivers and removes the five slowest. So then you have 15 drivers that progress on to Q2. And from those 15 drivers in Q2, another 5 are dropped. And again, they would be the 5 slowest drivers. So in the end, you have 10 drivers, which go through to the final Q3, where the final grid positions are decided depending upon what speed they set during that qualifying session. So what we're saying is at this moment in time, obviously the drivers don't necessarily need to complete this session. If they do, obviously they do need to be aware that they could potentially cause damage to their car and take them out of the following session. So if they do so, it's under their own volition or their own choice. We are currently on board with Dylan Platt, who has decided to go out onto the track and at least lay down some rubber. And at the end of this session, we will go with 10 drivers. Because obviously those 5 new drivers have disqualified, so they will start at the back of the grid. It is F1 tonight policy that any new drivers coming straight in that haven't started at the beginning of the season, so if they join during the course of the season for their first race, they will start at the back of the grid. And as Nikki explained, that's just learnt through experience and pain, I guess, Nikki, isn't it? Experience and pain.
Yes. Yeah. There's a little bit of pain involved in there as well. It's just to show the guys how we do things. Because some of the drivers that that drive for us, they're very new to league racing.
And even but also F1 tonight. I mean, we do run the league quite strictly and quite differently from, I guess, a number of other leagues. And I think it's just really to give them the opportunity to sort of get comfortable with that and get those first race nerves out of the way effectively.
Yes, it is. So, and also to keep the guys that are really fighting for the championship. Obviously, this is race 3, but we've had occasions that people joined in race 12 and basically just ran guys off the
track
corner, off the track. So, yeah, that's why we implemented this rule.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
It has worked for us ever since. Yeah, people tend to not like it, but I suppose afterwards they do look back and say, well, yeah.
With hindsight, it's not a bad old idea. So, Dylan Platt just coming round, laying down a bit of rubber there. As I said, we'll go through to the Q2 session with the 10 drivers. The Q2 session is important. Now, normally, obviously, you've got 15 drivers going in there, and the 10 fastest are the ones that go through to the final Q3. The important thing about Q2 is that those 10 drivers that make that top 10 have to start the race on the tyre with which they set their fastest lap in Q2. So from a strategy point of view, and depending upon what your strategy may be, and that obviously varies from driver to driver, they can show their hand by having to go out on a particular tyre and set a time. Now, I guess the advantage that these guys are going to have, as there's only 10 of them that are going to be going into that Q2 session, is that they can basically go on whatever tyre they want without worry of being penalised and not getting into Q3. So that's actually quite a plus for them, isn't it, this evening?
It is. You can, even if you're normally not be able to make Q3 with the hard tyre, you can just choose to get the hardest tyre on there. So you can basically do a very long first stint.
Yep.
Yeah, there's options for a one-stopper here now.
There is certainly those options at this moment in time. And say Dylan's still out on track. So it'll be interesting. Watch that when we get into the Q2 session. Have a look at the tyres that these guys will be on when they set their fastest laps. And I don't know if we're going to see any hard tyres though, Nikki, because going to Thursday's race, obviously you've already raced here at Shanghai. You did so on Thursday past. The hard tyres didn't really help their runners a great deal, those that went onto the hard tyres, did they?
No, it was very tough for them to get the tyres at the temperature during the race, especially with a full tank. It's hard tyres really need to push in order for them to work, especially in the first couple of laps, because I think we've got an issue with the stream, Woods.
No, it's just me changing something.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, don't worry, it has come up. It was just that I noticed that M. Dre came in, and unfortunately it came up on the broadcast, so I had to put myself to do not disturb, which I have learnt actually prevents all that. So there you go, that's what it was.
Quality is a bit low as well.
In what respect?
The quality?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Oh, never mind. Sorry, that's me. It was my laptop fooling me.
Nikki, it's just not good enough. Do you know, I've worked very hard to get this going well. You don't say things like that to me. You just don't do it, okay? Don't do it. So, there we have. That's the Q1 session done and dusted. So going into Q2, Sean Gregory for Toro Rosso, Callum White for Mercedes, Ryan Lear for Alfa Romeo, Thomas Cook for Red Bull, Daniel Burt for Haas, Dylan Platt for Alfa Romeo, Tony Foster for Ferrari, Adrian Rich for Red Bull, Phil Harris for Williams, Gary McKenney for McLaren. Starting P11 will be Ross Milburn in the Toro Rosso. Callum will be starting in a Renault in P12. Jake Sorrell will be starting in 13. And who's going to be starting? Tom Johnson. Tom Johnson for Renault will be starting in P15. And do you know what? I've got to look up Callum. Remind me what Callum's surname is, please.
Yeah, I'm searching.
Because he was one of the chaps that was actually tested last night. And although it is on our WhatsApp group, I'm not going to go looking through that at this moment in time. So, drivers are in the pits at this moment. Just waiting to see who's going to be the first man that's going to come out on track. And let's get this lap data enabled. See who's the first one. And nobody wants to come out. I don't know if they're checking their setups or whether they're going to sort of skip. Oh, no. And it looks like, I think, a Williams. Or was it a Toro Rosso? No, it's a Toro Rosso. So, Sean Gregory. First man out on track. He comes out now. It's for his out lap. And sorry, Widdowson. That's it. I've got to write that down because otherwise I know. I knew it was Widdy something. Sorry, Callum. It will be the first and last time. Don't worry. So Callum Widdowson will be in 15. We are on board now with Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. And we'll join him when on his fast lap to take us round the circuit and see how it actually looks. He's coming round turn 12 now, which is the turn we were discussing earlier, and then round 13. So turn 12, right-hander leads into turn 13, which is the right-hander. See him coming down that straight now. You see the DRS activation line. So I'm going to go on board with him from, I think, out of 15. So he's just getting himself wound up now, getting a bit of heat in those tyres. Certainly needs to now. Now that's interesting. He's on the hard compound tyres. This is what we were talking about, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. He's on the hard compound tyre. So Sean, round turn 16.
If he's comfortable on the hard tyres.
He's got the DRS now down this start-finish straight. That cuts out at the end of the pit lane into turn 1. That long right-hander leading then into turn 2. Into the reverse left of 3 and then 4. Little dog leg 5 now. Comes into second sector down to almost hairpin of turn 6. Got to really hit that apex on the right hand side, get over to the left on the exit, build up the power as you come round the long sweeping left of turn 7. Then you come to long right of 8. Hard left of 9. Down to hard left of 10. On a little bit of a straight there. Coming up to turn 11, you're now in the third sector. There's that uphill left into that right hand of 12. DRS detection line there. Round into 13. Now on to that straight, the back straight effectively. There's the DRS. So that back wing fully open now as he comes down to turn 14. Deactivation's there. Into turn 14, hit that apex, get over to the left, watch the exit as you kink round 15. Down into the final turn 16, there's the detection. for the DRS. There's your activation line over the line, and it's a 1:33.9. I think that's quite a respectable time on that hard tyre. And actually, looks like Rose Millhouse and Callum Widdowson are actually out at this moment, and so is Tom Johnson. So I don't know if there was any incident on track there, or whether they're just deciding it's not really worth going out. I know what's happened is because they actually went through to the second Q session and they've had to retire out of it to leave the 10.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it suddenly dawned on me. Obviously, no great shakes. Obviously, the guys aren't familiar. Oh dear, I've still got this on Sean Gregory. I don't think that Phil's going to appreciate that, so I better get his tag up there. So there's Phil Harris, we are on with now, not Sean Gregory. So yeah, the guys just made a little bit of an error there and went through to the following queue, so they've just disqualified themselves, which effectively relieves the remaining 10. And I see that Phil Harris is without his teammate again, and unfortunately that's the third race in a row. Yeah, so I'm sure the stewards will have to look at that, because obviously we expect drivers, if they sign up, to attend, and we fully understand that everyone has their own circumstances, but obviously 3 in a row, that then becomes questionable, and the stewards, I'm sure, will be looking at that and discussing that at the end of this race.
We'd like for drivers to sort of be able to make at least 14 of the races.
Yeah. At least 2/3.
Yeah, we've got quite a few people lining up to join us, and if you keep missing out on a race because of what reason whatsoever, it might be better for other people to join who can make it to every race.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some questions asked soon.
Indeed. Phil Harris setting a 1:33.393 on those hard compound tyres. Dylan Platt, in the meantime, has decided that I'm still getting these coming up, even though I put on Do Not Disturb, so I'm a bit...
Isn't it your other account?
No, it's not, because it's all the F1 guys that are coming on, F1 Netherlands that are coming online. So I've put it to Do Not Disturb, but it's still coming up for some bizarre reason. Adrian, you were wrong. Doesn't block that out, but anyway, not to worry. So we are, as I say, with Phil Harris. He has set a 1:33.393. Ryan Lear, in the meantime, who's gone out on track out there at the moment on the mediums, he's set a 1:33.467. So good for Ryan there. And where am I? Let's get rid of that. Ryan Lear there. Then we have Tony Foster in the Ferrari. It's coming round to turn 6 now. Tony currently sitting 4th with a 1:33.5, but he is on those soft compound tyres, so should make him that little bit faster. And if we go to Thomas Cook in the Red Bull, I think he's just coming... he's in the pits, actually, at the moment. So Thomas Cook in the pits. Gary McKenny in the McLaren is out on track at the moment. He's currently sitting P6 in this Q2 session with a 1:33.7, opting for the medium tyres. Then we have Callum White in the Mercedes. Callum already set a time of 1:33.8 on those, I think on those hard compound tyres. I'm pretty sure he hasn't changed tyres on that, so that should be...
He is, and he's half second up as well on his time, so he's going to jump to Phil Harris territory now when he crosses the line.
So that's interesting. Let's see. Let's actually go on board with him now as he comes down to that hairpin of 14. Nicely taken there, good move, easily around 15 into final 16 turn. What can he do? 1:33.8 is what he had before, and he's done a 1:33
Ooh.
Oh my God, 132.6. Look at that. Fantastic run on a hard compound tyre as well. Now that is a good run from Callum there, I've got to say.
That is a very good run.
Excellent run from Callum. 132.654 on the hardest compound tyre. Compare that to Dylan Platt, who's also set a time of a 132.345, 0.3 faster, but that is on the medium tyre. So, yeah, great run. Let's give you an idea. I mean, the medium tyre should be about a second or so faster than the hard tyre, shouldn't it?
I think it was 7/10, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Can't quite remember. I haven't touched the white tyres in my race, so I'm not too sure. I think it was like 7/10 or something. But yeah,
Right.
A very good performance from him.
Okay, so we got Adrian Rich out on track for Red Bull. Your counterpart for F1 Tonight UK. Obviously, Nicky is in the Red Bull team for Netherlands, and there is a Super League at the moment being going on between the with UK and NL combined. So important that Red Bull get some points here at this China Grand Prix, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They've been doing quite well in the previous two races, although they haven't seen the finish leg yet. So
indeed, 2 points is the two points in the Constructors' Championship for F1 Tonight UK for Red Bull.
Oh, that's Thomas Cook then, I think, because I know Adrian didn't finish. So yeah. Hopefully they're gonna score some points and at least finish races now. Yeah, we do like to keep staying ahead of the. Well, not keep. I don't think we are ahead, but we do want to finish quite high in the Super League.
Yeah, I mean it's important, obviously, for you, for you both. So let's see if Red Bull can pull it out of the bag at this moment in time. Adrian coming down. It's not looking too shabby actually, as he hits the apex of 14. I think this should be round about the 133, possibly. It's actually going to be faster, isn't it? Yes, it is. Hang on a second. Let's have a look at this. And it's a 132.2. Goes top of the board. What a fantastic run. Well done, Adrian Rich there for Red Bull. He's. I think Adrian's going to be happy with that one, isn't he, Nicky?
I'm pretty sure he is. He needs to.
No pressure. No pressure.
It's a very decent time.
Yeah, it is looking good. So Adrian Rich sets the fastest time so far in this Q2 session. Dylan Platt, as we said, is currently in second. He's actually coming down to the line at the moment. He's on his outlap. Callum White on his way round again. And Daniel Burt for Haas, 134. He's just coming round, set to 1. And actually, let's go with Daniel. As at this moment in time, Daniel is actually sitting 10th in the championship at this moment in time, and Has are actually sitting 7th at this moment in time in the constructors. But it is still early doors. 21 races. This is only race 3. So 18 races remaining, long way to go, and anything can happen during the course of the season, can't it, Nicky?
It can, and it most likely will.
Yeah, that's pretty much the rule of thumb, really, isn't it?
It is. So yeah, interesting to see. This is going to be a very interesting season, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Past 2 races, yeah.
Now, interesting, a number of those guys that obviously have put in competitive times on the hard compound tyres have all come in and gone on to the mediums. We were discussing earlier on the hard compound tyres and whether it's worth starting, but for this track, I just don't think there's any advantage to the hard compound tyre. What you gain for on-track time, you don't make up for lap times, really, do you?
Nah. I don't think it is. I think I've done 2 mediums and 1 soft in my race.
Which I think is the way to go,
in my
to be brutally
experience,
honest.
the hard tyres don't really warm up good enough, and you lose too much time in the process getting them to warm up. So I tend to not use them. And for what we've seen in the last Thursday race, we've seen some drivers coming in on lap 1.
Going on to the hards,
and going to the hard tyres, and they couldn't finish the race. So, I mean, if you could finish the race with just the hard tyres on lap 1, it would be maybe a benefit, but I don't think it is a benefit at all.
No, I'm inclined to agree with you on that one, Nicky.
They're on Platinum P1 right now, we're on 130.9.
My goodness me, a 130.9 on those soft compound tyres. Bear in mind, he did set the previous time of that 132 on the mediums.
Mediums, yeah.
So 130, he's taken a good 1.5 seconds out of his previous best time on the mediums onto those softs, which is around about right, I guess, for the difference between the tyres.
Yeah, it is. The Callum White's P2 now, 132.9 on the mediums.
So Daniel Burt actually
about a second
moving over at this moment in time. Looks like he's going to be letting somebody past. I don't know who that was actually. And that was actually Thomas Cook. So Thomas Cook in the Red Bull, coming round 16, currently sitting P8. He's going to better that time, and he does a 132.2, puts him up into the P3 position. And we've got 2 minutes remaining, so those guys are in the pits. They will not have the opportunity to come out on track. And those that are already on track, that have crossed the line, will have the opportunity. I think Phil Harris, coming across the line now. And Phil Harris,
32.5.
32.5 there, moves up into the P5 position. And that's it. Sean Gregory coming round actually now. So Sean Gregory looking to set a time, and this is looking a good time. It's going to be a 133, 132, 133.0. So 133.0 there from Sean Gregory puts him in P7 for this Q2 session. So let's run through now the runners and the riders. So Dylan Platt, fastest lap, 130.9 for Alfa Romeo. Callum White for Mercedes, 131.9 in 2. 3 is Thomas Cook for Red Bull. 4, Adrian Rich for Red Bull. 5, Phil Harris for Williams. Tony Foster for Ferrari. 6, Sean Gregory for Toro Rosso. 7, Daniel Burt for Haas. 8, Ryan Lear for Alfa Romeo. 9, and Gary McKenny for McLaren will be 10. And we'll run through those guys actually on the start grid, because that could be a bit of a mix, just to make sure what positions they are in. So we are now going to go into the final Q3 session. This is F1 Tonight UK, and we are here for race 3 at the Shanghai International Circuit. And it's not been too bad. I mean, the conditions are dry, but it looks like they're quite cool as well, because it's quite overcast, isn't it? I mean, do we have any idea what conditions are actually likely to be for the race at all, Nicky?
I've heard that there might be a chance of rain during the end.
That will certainly mix it up.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
I can see a number of the cars getting ready to come out. It looks like the McLaren there, and that's the sole McLaren of Gary McKenny, but it looks like the Alfa Romeo is out in front. I think that's Dylan Platt. Yes, it is. So Dylan Platt leads the way out of the pits, and he's getting ready for his outlap. Gary McKenny there in the McLaren is close in behind him. Gary McKenny at this moment in time sitting 7th in the Drivers' Championship, and McLaren sitting 4th in the Constructors.
Oh, joined. Okay. thought Seth retired.
So Gary McKenny coming round 10 now. Into that uphill left of 11. Then you got that right hand reverse or change of camber into 12. And see, it is tricky, isn't it, when you're getting, you know, lining up into 12 and then coming out of it as well. A lot of the drivers I've noticed when they're coming through 12 to 13 stick to the outside, the left-hand side of the track. Some drivers like to cut that corner, don't they? Go over to the right and then pull over to the left. What's your preference on that one, Nicky?
I like to cut the inside of that corner, just so you got a little bit of room, a little bit of a margin for if your tyres start spinning or whatever in the middle of the corner. But I always tend to really go to the inside of the corner instead of to the outside that these guys mostly do.
Yeah, because it basically it reduces the pressure that the tyres are under, because obviously you can stick to the left-hand side, go around the outside, stick to that line, but you are putting a lot more force and a lot more pressure on those tyres and therefore wear, aren't you?
Yeah, especially the soft tyres. You can very easily overcook these tyres. They get very hot very quickly. If you get them above a certain temperature, they just have no grip at all.
Yellow,
just understeer all over the place.
Got a yellow flag in sector 3, so that's probably one of the guys just going a little bit off track there. Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing, Nicky. I mean, obviously we talk about reaching the optimum tyre temperatures, and it is important for that grip. But as you say, if you overcook it, if the tyre gets too hot, you lose traction effectively, don't you?
Yeah, quickly as well. If you're looking now, when you're racing, you've got like you can see your tyre temperatures, and as soon as you see your tyre go yellow, you know you're going way too fast. You really have to slow the car down for a couple corners to really get those temperatures back into a green zone.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you just keep losing time and keep rubbing the rubber on the asphalt and keep generating heat and heat and heat. And just,
so
if the heats get too much, your tyre will just explode.
That is certainly what you don't want, that's for sure. So Gary McKenny, provisional P3 at this moment, 132.8. Sean Gregory is 132.1 at this moment in time, so he's provisional P2. But Dylan Platt there in the Alfa Romeo setting the fastest time so far, 132.116. That's the fastest of all the sessions so far. Oh, sorry.
Callum White, 30.9.
That's just been changed by Callum White in the Mercedes. And he's just set a 130.926. Actually, I was wrong because there was a 130 set in Q2. I do apologise.
It was Dylan Platt.
It was Dylan, yeah. He's on the softs. He did set a 130. So 130.9 there from Callum. He's just pulling aside there to let, I think that was actually Adrian. Let's have a quick look. Yes, it was. So that's Adrian Rich there in the Red Bull. And he's just coming round now into turn 8. Now into 9. Let's watch him into 10 on that exit there. Lay down the power. Coming into the third and final sector, up round 11, right hand into 12. And you can see there what we were talking about, just goes off that line a little bit. Not he's gone a bit middle of the road. He hasn't gone over to the right, he hasn't gone over to the left, he sort of stayed in the middle there.
Yeah, he sort of takes the line I take as well.
Yeah.
Funny enough. Actually got Thomas Cook in P2 now, 31.4.
Wow, so Red Bull, Thomas Cook, 131.4, and this is important for Red Bull, as we said today here in China, that they get some points down. It is early doors, but they don't want to fall too far behind the leaders. And 132.0 from Adrian. P3. So that puts him in provisional P3, that second row, with his teammate in the front row at the moment, sitting alongside Callum. So this is looking very interesting indeed. Dylan Platt into the pits, Sean Gregory in the pits, Phil Harris into the pits, Ryan Lear in the pits, Gary McKenny in the pits. Daniel Burt is out on track at this moment in time, so let's go with Daniel as he's coming.
Daniel's going in.
Going in as well. Yeah, he is.
This was the first
the first stint, the first laps, yeah, because they've got 5 minutes now remaining. The guys have got a bit of a feel now as to the tyres and how it's actually feeling overall. And what we're going to see them now is coming out for their second session. Thomas Cook, Adrian Rich still out on track at this moment in time. So they could be likely to pit at the end of this, but we're on board with Thomas Cook at this moment in time. He's not doing a fast lap, as you can see there. It's just an out lap. You can see from his sector times he's on 140 already. So he's going to be coming into the pits, I think, isn't he?
It's, Gary McKenny is going to be the first one to start his second fast lap.
So let's go on board with the McLaren of Gary McKenny as he gets himself lined up. And I've got to say, Gary's so far 2 races, competed, finished, and he's picked up some good points. Hasn't had a teammate with him until obviously this evening, and that's going to be Tom Johnson, one of the new drivers. So he'll be starting at towards the back of the grid, and we'll run through the grid line. So Gary getting ready now to line himself up for his fast lap, and let's go on board with Gary for this fast lap now. As he comes round into one. You can see the deceleration there, going down the gears into 3. Nicely then accelerate, hard accelerate. You can really put the pedal to the floor out of 3 into 4, can't you?
Yeah, you can. You need to as well, because exits of corners is very important. But you see, some people are using medium traction control, and some people aren't using traction control at all.
Yeah.
You can really see the difference in the amount of throttle they're applying going out of the corner. But yeah, corner exits is very important.
Yeah, and you've got to be careful as well, because this is what we were talking around 12. On this one here, you can't put the pedal to the floor. You've got to ease it down, haven't you? So you don't lay down too much power and spin out.
Yeah. If you put too much power in there, you can actually see him. I've got the telemetry up. I can actually see him lift his throttle in the middle of the corner.
Yeah.
Get some momentum going.
I guess really the rule of thumb is if it's a roll, if you've still got a corner, if you hit that apex and you've still got turning to do, you don't want to lay down the power. If you come out of a corner and you've got a nice straight line, you want to lay down as much power as you've got. That's basically. And Gary McKenny indeed moves up into P3 with a 131.8. So great run there from Gary.
He actually lost his ERS at the end of the coming out of the hairpin. So this would have been a very, very fast lap indeed. Unfortunately, he didn't have the extra 160 horsepower to push him forward.
And Tony Foster, is Tony Foster now on a fast lap? I think he is, isn't he?
He just started his, I think.
Yeah. So he's in coming now into sector 2.
Sean Gregory at P3 now. Down at fastest time.
So Sean Gregory in a Toro Rosso setting a 131.7. Some of you may be wondering why I haven't bought up the tyre selection. Main reason being that I can pretty much guarantee they're all on soft tyres, as would be the normal case in Q3. So the drivers generally, more often than not, in Q3 will always go on to the softest compound tyre, and just for the pure
Daniel
speed.
Bird's coming up for the fast lap. And he's on the back straight now.
So let's quickly switch over to Daniel coming round turn 14. And we'll go back to Tony. So Daniel Burt now, and this is looking a good time, isn't it? My goodness me. Yeah, a 1:32.0. So Daniel Burt sets a 1:32.0.
P5.
Tony Foster actually into the pits. Alan White still the fastest man out on track with that 1:30.9. Thomas Cook for Red Bull, provisional P2, front row. Then we have Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso, currently sitting P3, row 2, and it looks like that's where he's going to finish. We do still have some drivers out. Gary McKenny in for the McLaren, currently P4. Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo, 5. Daniel Burt, we've just seen, 6. Adrian Rich is sitting at 7 at this moment in time.
He's on an improvement as well, Adrian.
He is on a faster lap, so let's stay on board.
So is Phil Harris.
With Adrian Rich as he comes round. Oh, dearie me! Dearie me! Just laid down the power that bit too much with the DRS as well, and he spun out, and he's going to be very, very frustrated with that, isn't he, Adrian?
Nicky, yeah, he is.
No, I mean, Adrian's going to be frustrated with it. I didn't mean Nicky.
He is going to be frustrated. He was on a good lap as well.
Yeah, it was looking like he was going to hit maybe that 131, low 131s, which would put him up in at least the first, second or third row. And Dylan Platt, oh my goodness me, Dylan Platt,
his pole position,
gets it right at the knock-ins here of this Q3 session. Dylan Platt for Alfa Romeo pips Callum White, takes that P1 position with a 1:30.4. He's taken 5/10 out of Callum's time there. That is quite something.
It is quite something, I must admit. I did think I seen Callum just lifting off. He might have dirtied his time in the process, but I did see him lift off just before the finish line, so I'm not sure what was that for. But yeah, definitely a good performance from Dylan Platt. He's been fast all session.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking very promising. He's got his first pole position.
So let's have a look at the grid. Dylan Platt for Alfa Romeo takes that P1 position, row 1. Alongside him will be Callum White in the Mercedes. Row 2, P3, Phil Harris in the Williams. Fantastic run from him. Alongside him will be Thomas Cook in the Red Bull. Row 3, P5, Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. Alongside him will be Gary McKenny in the McLaren. Then row 4, P7, Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo. Alongside him will be the Haas of Daniel Burt. And then finally, row 5, P9. And I can't for the life of remember who it was, but we'll come to that in just 1 second. So the drivers, and it looks like the weather's cleared up a little bit for the race. It's brighter, isn't it? Certainly in that pit lane.
Yeah, sun is shining. So, but yeah, like I say, I've heard from some...
You've heard it on the grapevine, Nicky.
I've heard from good sources that there is some rain due to the end of the race. So,
well, we always like a bit of rain. Always mixes things up, and especially towards the end of a race, that's for sure.
It certainly does.
So the drivers now getting ready. I'm not too sure if we're having a little respite for the drivers to take their inverted commas rest stops. So take some liquid on board, because I know a lot of people comment on, obviously this is, you can't compare to the sort of G-forces and the stresses and the strains that you have in the real world F1, but believe you me, sim racing has its own stresses, and I know of quite a few drivers that lose a few pounds through sweat during the course of a race.
Well, I know for a fact I need a shower when I finished.
Yeah, because it is quite intense. I mean, the levels of concentration, I would say, are right up there, aren't they? To consistently get around there. And this is the thing, when you're doing 100% racing, you've got strict rules. You've got to watch your line. You've got to make sure you don't go off the line, incur any penalty points. And then you've got to concentrate, for 56 laps. That's quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's something about an hour and a quarter to 1.5 hours, depending. Could even be 2 hours if it's a full red race. But
yeah,
you really need to be focused and be be focused, sort of thing.
That's basically it, isn't it, Nicky? You just got to be focused.
Yes, it is, 100%.
So we're just waiting now for the drive. So I don't know if we've got a finalised start time. While we've got a little bit of a break here, we didn't shout who we thought was going to get that pole. Obviously, Dylan Platt achieved that. Who do you think is going to get this race today, though?
Some would say it's the obvious, but I think I'm going to go with Tom Stevens, even though he's going to come from the back. But I think he's going to come charging.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm actually going to go a little bit left field here. I'm going to go with the Toro Rosso of Sean Gregory.
Yeah, I think Tom Stevens has got something up his sleeve, because it's not normal for him to crash the car in Q1.
No,
Let's put it that way.
That's true. So let's go on board now as we go through the processional lap. So Dylan Platt is in P1. Alongside him will be the Mercedes of Callum White. Then row 2, P3, we have Phil Harris in the Williams. And Dylan going off track there. A little bit of I think he's laying down a bit of power and went off the track. Not what he wants for his starting lap. Then we have Thomas Cook in the Red Bull in P4. P5, we have Sean Gregory, and that's the man who my money's on for tonight, but we will see. Then we have Gary McKenny, he's in P6 alongside him. P7, we have Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo. P8, we have Daniel Burt in the Haas. P9, Adrian Rich in the Red Bull. In P10, we have Tony Foster in that Ferrari. Then we have one of the new drivers, Ross Milburn, in the Toro Rosso. He's in P11. Then in P12, we have Cameron Widdowson. Good pause there, wasn't it? Good pause, Nicky. Good pause. Then we have the second Ferrari, Jake Sorrell. He'll be starting in P13. In P14, we have Tom Johnson, new teammate there for Gary McKenny. And bringing up the rear, Tom Stevens. Oh, I need to move that. Dearie me. I don't know what you're doing up there. What are you doing up there? Let's get you down there. Let's get you lined up with someone. So I'm giving away my trade secrets here, but never mind. So let's get rid of Ross, and there we have Tom Stevens bringing up the rear there. So the driver's getting ready onto the grid. I will get ready as well now to see where these guys are. They're lining up onto the start. The lining onto the grid is automatically done by the AI. So
yeah, they take over just before the last corner when they're coming up to start finish straight. So
guys lining up. So this is F1 tonight. Season 1, Race 3, Shanghai. The drivers underway. The lights are lighting up. And we are off for the start of this China GP. And Dylan Platt leads the way. Callum White coming in very close in behind him. Phil Harris trying to get in as well. And you can see the Red Bull of Thomas Cook. Also Sean Gregory in the background. So at this moment in time, Phil Harris has moved up. Oh, Thomas Cook has moved up into P3 place. So Thomas Cook moves up down into P4 as he's fighting out with Phil Harris there. Both those guys side by side, but Dylan's got a good getaway. Callum White in the background. You can see Thomas Cook now fighting against Phil Harris, and Sean Gregory in the background there. He's fighting with Ryan Lear. Gary McKenny's come through as well. He's got Daniel Burt just in behind him. Then we've got Jake Sorrell, and Jake Sorrell, great start. 4 places from 13 to 9 on that start. Tom Stevens up 5. Look at this as he's making his way round Jake now into turn 9, round into 10. Look at that. He almost makes it look easy, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a very clean start from everyone.
Great start. Adrian Rich in 11.
Who's where?
Yeah,
Tony Stevens P9 already.
Tony Foster 12. Tom Johnson 13. Callum Widdowson. Yes, it is. Yes, in 14, and Ross Milburn in 15. So Dylan Platt does indeed lead the way at this moment in time, but he's got Callum White in close behind him, hasn't he?
Yeah, only 5-10 separating them. I do see Dylan Platt pulling away from Callum, especially with the softer tyres. But from experience, they don't last very long. So I see him coming in between lap 9 and 12, I think.
Yeah,
where
and that's
Callum can really push it through to about 20, 23.
Yeah, and this is important, and this is when we start to discuss the tyres and how they come out. Now, interestingly, we have got one driver on the... Oh, dearie me, and Callum hitting the marker board there on the left-hand side just as he was coming down to turn 6. I'm sure that's not what he really wants to be doing. But he is starting to drop back a little now from Dylan. It's almost coming up to the second. But yeah, tyres obviously very important. The soft compound tyres, that's the one that Dylan Platt is currently on at this moment in time, has the shortest lifespan, obviously because being the softest tyre. Callum is on the medium tyre, as is Phil Harris, Thomas Cook, Ryan Lear, Sean Gregory, Tom Stevens, Gary McKenny and Daniel Burt. So those midfield, sort of front midfield guys on the mediums. We've got Jake Sorrell, interestingly enough, has opted to go for the hard tyre. Be interesting to see whether Jake can actually get that to work for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Especially if you see on the hard tyre, you can really do a long first stint. But keep in mind that there's some rain forecasted, so yeah, you can probably profit from this.
Yeah.
We do have Cameron Widdowson with a front wing damage, so I do see him coming in.
Yeah, and Callum White setting the fastest lap, provisional fastest lap, 1:37.6. So they're on lap 3, so DRS will be activated. It hasn't been activated on this start-finish straight. Sean Gregory has come into the pits.
Just going to see what he's going to do. Oh, he's got wing damage.
So Sean Gregory, wing damage at this moment in time. We are on board with Callum White. As I said, DRS has now been activated. They couldn't take advantage of it on that start-finish straight because they hadn't crossed the line, weren't on the 3rd lap. However, they will have it on that long straight leading down to turn 14. The guys at the moment coming round turn 8. So they're in that second middle sector. Round 10 now. Lining up to get to 11, now into the final sector. And let's go on board with Callum White because he's certainly within that DRS, 4/10. Now this could be interesting. Oh, and Dylan having a little bit of a swerve there round turn 13. It's given Callum White the opportunity to really close down to his gearbox. Surely this is going to be a very straightforward move for him as they come down to turn 14, and indeed Callum just slots in behind him, had a little peek, see if maybe he could do a little bit late braking, hit that apex, hits the apex well, gets a good exit though. Dylan Platt has to be said. So this is still anyone's game. And remember, Dylan Platt will now have DRS on Callum White as they come down into that turn 1.
Tom Stevens with the fastest lap of the race. It's P5 already.
So Tom Stevens, let's remember, he started in P15.
Oh, contact with Adrian there.
So a bit of contact between the Haas and the Red Bull there of Adrian Rich. Tony Foster close in behind these guys as well, looking to have a little peek down into turn 6. Tony Foster trying to see if he can get past that Red Bull. In the meantime, Adrian Rich is trying to close down to Daniel Burt, but Daniel staying ahead of him. But he's got one of the new drivers in the Ferrari, Jake Sorrell, just ahead of him. So real battle at the moment going certainly on in this midfield, which is what we would come to expect.
Oh, Callum spins.
Callum is... and he's out! And he's heading to him. Thomas Cook's got into... Well. Tom Stevens has gone out. So, oh my goodness me, Callum White lost it round 12. And as he was spinning around the track, Tom Stevens and Thomas Cook coming round, both wiped out. So Tom Stevens, such a promising start from 15, moved up, right up into, I think it was P5. Thomas Cook up there as well. And that's it. Race over. Safety car. Is safety car? I don't know. Sure. No, yellow flags are out. No safety car. Callum White coming into the pits, clearly to get a new nose. And that wasn't even Callum's. Well, I suppose it wasn't his fault. He spun out. He spun out, and it wasn't a question of him joining the track. It was just while he was on that spin, the other guys came round and just went into him. Nothing that could be done.
Tony Foster in for a new nose cone as well.
Callum's actually, I think, maybe got a drive-through there. He's just come through a drive-through, so I'm not too sure what's happened there, whether he got some sort of penalty for that, for going off track. Don't know, but he's come in. So that has definitely mixed things up.
Drive-through, severe collision with Thomas Cook.
Yeah, so he got a drive-through for that collision. So, well,
doesn't appear of damage.
He doesn't have any, couldn't see any damage on there. He certainly didn't stop.
Tony Foster, on the other hand, he went in for a new nose cone, so he's at the back of the grid now.
So Tony, and let's run through where they are at this moment in time. That's really mixed it up, because we were, looking for Tom to come through, and he certainly, with the way he was going, looked like he was going to, but that's it. Race over now. Tom Stevens is out, as is Thomas Cook, and that's a bit of a tragedy there for Red Bull. One driver out already on lap 4. Or 5 rather. Oh, it was 4.
I think Jake Sorrell is P5 at the moment. His hard tyres. He's doing a well good job. Ross Milburn, P6. Tom Johnston, P8. Cameron, P10. So the new guys are doing a good job there.
Yep, got to say, Cameron Widdowson, as Nicky has pointed out, new driver is in P10. Then we've got Tom Johnson, who's the new McLaren driver. Sorry, wrong one. Tom Johnson. Get it again. Tom Johnson. There we go, finally. He's in P8 for McLaren. Then we've got Ross Milburn in the Toro Rosso, new driver to F1 Tonight UK. He's up to P6. And Jake Sorrell, indeed, the new driver, currently with Ferrari for this inaugural season for him. He's sitting very pretty indeed in P5 on that hard compound tyre. So, so far, due to obviously situations on track, but also to his driving, he's done really well. We were commenting on whether the hard time wasn't necessarily the choice here for China, but at this moment in time it is still very early. We are only on lap 6 coming down to 7. Jake Sorrell is pretty much quids in at this moment with those hard compound tyres.
Yeah, he's really fast on these. From my point of view, very unexpected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, hard tyres, they do tend to not heat up as fast as the other tyres do. But yeah, he's got them very much in the sweet spot.
Yeah, just for those of you that may be aware, Nicky's actually got an app which allows him to have a look at all the details of the drivers, so he can clearly see the temperature range of those tyres, and as Nicky says, he's got them up to temperature and at optimum speed. And Phil Harris has got past Dylan Platt. So Phil Harris has now moved up into that P1 position. So great run from him. But that said, Dylan Platt is very close in behind him at this moment in time. 5/10, and they're coming up to turn 11 where that DRS activation is. And 8/10, I think Dylan's just a little bit off the mark to take advantage of that, unless Phil makes any mistake around there, but no. Nicely done for Phil Harris round that corner. Dylan Platt is now second off him. He's not going to be able to close down that gap into 14, is he?
Sorry, I lost you there. I was checking some things.
I said Dylan's not going to be able to take advantage of that down to turn 14 with that DRS, which he wasn't. And Phil Harris is doing a great job staying ahead of him at this moment in time.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, he's on a medium tyre as well. Let's not forget that. He's on a harder compound tyre than Dylan.
Yeah, I do suspect Dylan's tyre is going to be worn down very soon. That might be the issue why he's not keeping up with Phil Harris at the moment.
It could well be, because as you said, those I mean, he's on 7-lap old tyres. He's probably done 3, possibly 4 laps already on the qualifying session on those. That means they're up to 11, so he's probably only got about 3 or 4 laps left in them, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think that's about the max he can do. Like I said, I think pit window is going to be between 10 and 12. Maybe you can push him to 15, but it really is maximum.
Right, let's have a look at this field. So Phil Harris leads the way. Dylan Platt is in second, and he is definitely losing time to Phil Harris. He's lost a good 4/10, I think, on that previous lap. Ryan Lear, his teammate, in the meantime, has moved up to P3. So Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo is up to P3. Gary McKenny in the McLaren is up to P4. Jake Sorrell, as we were discussing earlier, is in P5 for Ferrari. Ross Milburn, new driver as well to F1 tonight. He's in P6 for Toro Rosso. Daniel Burr in the Haas is P7. Adrian Rich is P8 in the Red Bull. Then we have Tom Johnson, new driver in the McLaren. He's in P9. Callum Widdowson in the Renault is P11. Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso is P12, and Tony Foster in the Ferrari currently bringing up the rear on 13. Had to come in for that nose change a couple of laps ago. Tom Stevens, as we know, and Thomas Cook are both out. So Tom Stevens for Mercedes is out, and Thomas Cook for Red Bull is out. And yeah, Tom's going to be he's going to be pretty unhappy with his team. Well, not that it was his teammate's fault, so to speak, but he's probably going to have a few words with him at the end of this race, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see what happened.
It looked to me as if he just laid down the power.
Spun out, and then
yeah,
Thomas was taking avoiding action. I think he spun in the process of that.
Yeah,
and that's when Tom Stevens T-boned him.
Yeah,
that's what I could see.
Yeah, I think that pretty much does sum it up, Nicky. Loss of traction round 12 caused that, obviously. But Dylan Platt is Phil Harris is convincingly pulling away from Dylan Platt here, isn't he? I mean, look at this. 2.1 seconds down the road already. Question is when is Dylan going to come in for that tyre change? I've got to say, if I was Dylan, losing that time that he is, I'd be coming in now. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well,
yeah, and he is. Yeah, Dylan is in.
It all depends on what the. Oh, he's in the pit.
Yeah, Dylan is in. Yeah, so Dylan is in. Ryan Lear will now assume that second place for Alfa Romeo, and Gary McKenny moves up to P3. This is lap 10. F1 Tonight UK Season 1 Race 3 here at the Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. Gary McKenny is in 3rd place as it stands at this moment in time for McLaren. So I'm sure he's going to be a very happy bunny, and sitting quite pretty at the moment as well on those mediums. All the top 3 drivers are indeed on the medium tyres. So we are expecting them to go to early to mid-20s. But I have to say, the guy that's sticking out at the moment is Jake Sorrell, because Jake Sorrell, barring any incident, will be taking or assuming P1 in this race, probably within, what, the next 12 to 15 laps?
Yeah, I would think so. Ross Milburn on the back of him.
He is, actually. I was just looking at that. Yeah.
Dropping back a little bit now, but I do see Ross going for him. The hairpin, maybe.
Yeah, I've got to say, I just picked up on that as I was making comment with regards to Jake, that Ross Milburn is indeed closing down on the back of that Ferrari of Jake Sorrell. He's still over a second, so he won't have DRS as they come out of turn 16 onto that start-finish straight. Oh, he will actually. He will have the DRS. He was just under there, so he will have DRS. That will bring him a little bit closer to Jake Sorrell. And this is really important here for this Toro Rosso driver. He needs to get past Jake here on track, because unlikely he's going to do it in the pits. He's going to have to be pitting relatively soon. So it's important that he gets past Jake on the track, isn't it? In this instance.
Yes, it is. Well, if he goes into the pits, and if he goes into the pits, going to take it, what, 22 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, something around there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He needs to try and get past this Ferrari that is ahead of him.
Yeah, if he gets past and then gets into the pits and basically got his fresh tyres to gain on him again, which he can.
And Jake Sorrell makes a mistake there. Out of 11 into 12, we've got a bit twitchy. He's given Ross Milburn a chance to close down. He's 6/10 off the back of him now. I don't think he's going to be able to make the move into 14, but he should close down to about 2/10 behind him. I don't know. I don't know if he... Yeah.
He's going to come. He's going to try and outbrake him. He's going to wait. He's going to do it on the start-finish straight.
I was about to say, I think it's more likely it's going to be on that start-finish straight. He should be round about 2/10 off the back of him. He's actually 4/10. So he did lose a little bit of time. Let's see what he can do now as they come onto that start-finish straight. He's within 4/10. This should give him the opportunity to make the move into turn one. The question is what Jake Sorrell going to do? They're side by side as they come round one into two. And Jake Sorrell leads the way there. Good control there from Jake Sorrell, not getting phased by the fact he's got that Toro Rosso on his tail. Little bit of a wobble out of 4. They come down to 6 now, and Ross is really looking to make that move as quickly as he can, but still not able to do it. And he's coming round 7. Is he ahead of him? He's on the inside, but obviously Jake will have the advantage into 8, being on that outside, so it's inside into 8 effectively. And I've got to say, I'm very impressed so far with Jake Sorrell staying ahead of Ross Milburn, maintaining control, especially as he's on those hard compound tyres.
Yeah, we've seen this in the test that we've done with these on Saturday as well, or Sunday, very close racing, and I do think, like it's in telemetry, that Ross will be coming into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the test we've seen them as well, really close racing. So yeah, very mature drivers, even though it's their inaugural race.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, obviously, a number of them are experienced in league racing overall, not necessarily on the 100% distance. Oh, and Ross having a little bit of spin there. Those tyres have definitely had it. He's going to have to be coming into the pits.
Oh, Dylan Platt just hit Daniel Bird.
I was about to come on to those.
Yeah, a little bit of wing damage to him.
He has got wing damage. I was just trying to see how much he's
plowing through the field.
Dylan Platt has got severe damage on that front right. That is very much going to affect his downforce. And he is coming through that field. He's obviously had to pit. As you can see, he's on 3-lap old medium, so he has pitted. We saw him pit, obviously, earlier on when he was behind Phil Harris. Brought him out in that P6 position. And he is really pushing at the moment, trying to get past, and he gets past him on 6. Yeah, round him now, and that's with that front wing damage as well. That's quite something.
That is quite something, yeah.
So
I'm not sure if that actually is. Well, there is obviously visible damage, but I'm not sure if it affects the driving style. Because it is very unusual if you're missing an end plate to be able to turn like that. So, well, I wonder.
I don't know. He is definitely got that damage on that front wing. Maybe he's just able to control it a bit better. Who knows? But he's certainly got ahead of that Haas, and that was important for him because Daniel Burt is also on the medium set of tyres, and you can see a little bit of turning and throwing as Callum White gets past Daniel Burt with that DRS down into 14. So Callum White has now moved up into P6. Daniel Burt is in P7. Callum White P6. Dylan Platt 5. Jake Searle maintaining that 4th place as Ross Milburn came into the pits. Gary McKenny is in 3. Ryan Leah is in 2. And Phil Harris leading the way. I've got to say, Phil looking quite convincing as a leader at the moment in time. He's 6.5 seconds ahead of Ryan Leah, and that's going to help him a great deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, definitely. I just got a question from Tom Stevens. He wants to explain in the party, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, by all means, let's get Tom in and find out what happened.
All right. Let me see how I'm going to do this.
Well, I'll let you get on with it. I'll mute you in the meantime, Nicky, in case there's any cursing. So we are on board with Phil Harris leading the way. And let's run through our field as they stand at the moment. So Phil Harris leads the way. Ryan Leah for Sauber is in 2nd. Gary McKenny for McLaren is 3rd. Jake Searle for Ferrari is 4th. Callum White for Mercedes is up to 5. Dylan Platt being in, come out, and he's up to P6. Daniel Burt for Haas is 7th. Ross Milburn has put in a good show so far, come in, pitted as well. He's in P8 at this moment in time. Adrian Rich, the remaining Red Bull, is in P9. Sean Gregory for Toro Rosso is in P10. Then we have another one of the new drivers, Tom Johnson for McLaren. He's in P11. Yes, it is. And Callum in the Renault. Callum Widdowson is in P12. And Tony Foster in the Ferrari is currently sitting P13. So that's our runners and riders as they stand at this moment in time. This is lap 15 of 56. We are just over a quarter of the way through this race. 41 laps remaining, and Phil Harris leads the way. He's on 14 lap old mediums. We're expecting the medium runners, which are Phil Harris, Ryan Leah, Gary McKenny, Callum White, etc., to be coming in on roundabouts, or probably lap 22 to 25. Some drivers might stretch it out a little bit more, some drivers might come in a bit earlier, but that's what we're looking at the moment. Now the interesting thing is we've seen a number of guys actually go onto the hard compound tyres as well. So let's have a quick look here. Adrian Rich He came in at the end of lap 10. He's gone on to the hard compound tyre. Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso, he came in at lap 14. He's gone on to the hard compound tyre. Tom Johnson in the McLaren has also gone on to the hard compound tyre. So a number of drivers there opting to go onto that hard compound tyre. So Phil Harris, as I said, obviously leading the way at this moment in time. And we have indeed been joined by Tom Stevens in the commentary box. And Tom, firstly, very sorry to see you go. Secondly, you are doing a fantastic job coming through that field. Got to say, really awesome to see. But tragedy happened. What happened?
Yeah, well, these things happen and you just have to put up with it sometimes. I mean, I've been renowned to have good starts, and I knew I needed to maximise the start. And I thought I did a pretty decent job.
Yeah, definitely.
When I moved up 7 or 8 positions.
Yeah.
So that was deep. And I even got 2 cars into the hairpin, which I don't think you caught, but it felt amazing.
Just about.
Yeah.
Just about. I think I might have just caught that. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it was great. It was a great run, certainly.
Yeah. So Callum, as you saw, lost the rear. Of course, heavy fuel load, so it's quite easy to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't react quick enough. Also forgetting, because it's still early on in the season, that it's no ghosting, and I didn't react quick enough, and therefore paid the consequences.
Indeed, you did pay the consequences, but I mean, you know, fair play. You're not crying into your hands there. Obviously disappointed, but highlighting obviously the pluses there. And
I'm low-key crying.
Well, Baku next week, and I've got the sneaking suspicion that Baku is a track that suits you, Tom.
Yeah, I used to be really good at it. However, after switching line off, I'm not as confident as I used to be. So it's going to be a difficult one to survive, let alone avoid incidents.
Yeah.
Baku was really wanting us to survive before this finish.
Yeah, it is definitely a tough track. I've got to say, it's a track that I've grown to love and respect since its introduction into the F1 calendar. But a great run. Well, all I can say is, you know, great job, Tom. We know you're going to be up there. We certainly want to do that. And while I've got you online, Tom, I believe that you've got some news which you've been sharing, and I'd like you to share that with our viewers, if that's okay.
Is it about the esports?
It is indeed about the esports. So, Tom, tell us about it, please.
Well, a few weeks ago, I had of course, on F1 2019, they host esports events. And those who finish, I believe, top 16 globally on the Xbox platform go through to an Xbox playoff race, which will be this Thursday evening. I managed to finish 6th, so I will be participating in that race. Whether or not I go through to the next stage or not is going to be difficult because it's Singapore, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
So Callum, you've got through on the F1 2019, the esports series on the Xbox. You've got through P6. You're in Singapore this weekend. Is that Saturday or Sunday night?
It's this Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, not this Thursday. What time?
It doesn't matter what time, you just want to tune into the Netherlands edition of
So Tom Stevens not giving it away. He will be racing. So Tom, I can guarantee you're going to have the full support of all 36 current drivers. I think it's 36, are we? 38 actually, current drivers. And also all our viewers. So we wish you all the best for Thursday, and we are confident and sure that you'll be able to get through and wave the flag for the UK in that esports series. So very, very best of luck to you on Thursday, Tom.
Thank you very much, mate.
No worries. No worries. Okay, so Tom will now make a move, and we're back onto the commentary. In the meantime, while Tom was talking, his teammate Callum White has got ahead of Jake Sorrell and moved up into 4th place. So Callum White in that Mercedes is really coming through the field now, Nicky, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. He's really on the move. I would have seen that from Dylan Platt as well, but obviously he had that little conflict with Daniel Burt, so
yeah, bit of damage there.
He's really on the move.
But I've got to say, I don't think Dylan has actually. Yeah, has he? I'm not too sure if he's come in. I'm trying to get the right angle on his car to see whether he's.
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. So he has stayed out.
Front wing damage.
So he stayed out. I mean,
obviously feels comfortable with it.
If he feels comfortable with it, but is he losing any time on it? This is the question.
He is losing time to Phil Harris, because when he hit Daniel, he was 17 seconds behind him. He's now 21 seconds. But Callum just overtook. Gary McKenna just went into the pit. Sorry.
Yeah, so Gary McKenny coming into the pits after 19 laps. So our first medium tyre runner to come into the pits. Daniel Burt in the pits as well, actually. Gary McKenny going on to another set of mediums. Not too sure what Daniel's going on to. He is in the pits, I think. I don't know if he's got any damage. Oh, he's going on to the hard. So Daniel Burt in the Haas going on to the hard, so he's going to be looking to go to the end of the race. Surely 36 laps, that is doable on those hard compound tyres, isn't it?
36 is, but keeping in mind there is some rain due to get to the end, so he might be doing just because he knows there's some rain coming. So yeah, it's interesting, but I think 36 laps in the mediums is doable.
Dylan Platt now is, we were just commenting on that damage, but he's closed right down to Jake Sorrell. Look at this. And he's actually overtaken him on turn 12 into 13. My goodness me, Jake Sorrell coming back. But I don't think Jake's going to be able to do anything. I don't think he's going to have DRS, because I don't know if he was that close to Ryan Lear. Sorry, not Ryan Lear, Callum White. But he comes back, look at that. Oh, locks up down into 14, goes wide. Leaves the door open for Dylan Platt. Dylan Platt goes ahead of him. But I've got to say, that's a fantastic run there from Jake Sorrell. Okay, he didn't get it right on 14, but he's done a great job. And he's coming back at him again. Look at this, Jake Sorrell coming back on the DRS on Dylan Platt, side by side, as they're coming round 2 into 3. Dylan will have the advantage out of 4. He needs to lay down that power, but look at this Ferrari. Jake Sorrell side by side with him as they come round 5, down into 6. Jake will have the slight advantage here into that turn 6. Gets ahead of Dylan Platt, but Dylan is not letting it go. He's trying to come back. He's going right wide round 7 onto that dirty side of the track, but managing to keep it there. Jake round 8 now, and Dylan is really just close in on his heels. I mean, let's have a look at this to give you an idea. And Nicky, I mean, when you're this close, what happens to your control of that car?
Well, yeah, if you're close to someone else, obviously you lose downforce and create understeer. Especially when Dylan has front wing damage.
Yeah.
Even loses more downforce. It's really...
ballsy, I think is the word.
It is. But he's going back again. He's got DRS. Probably going to break him into hairpin. Yes, he does. He takes the place as well. Oh, he locks his brakes a little bit.
Yeah, but Jake Sorrell not making the same mistake as he did on the previous lap. takes it cleanly, and he's just slotted in behind Dylan Platt, but he's going to have the DRS on him.
He has, so it's going to be Peter for the last lap.
We can see these two side by side again as they come round 2 into 3. Little wheel to wheel contact there, but look in the background, Phil Harris, yes it is Phil Harris in the background there, overtaking Jake Sorrell.
He's just gone into the pits for a new set of tyres.
So Phil Harris on a fresh set of mediums, now fighting against Jake Sorrell. Wheel to wheel has given Dylan Platt the opportunity to pull away. And yeah, Jake Sorrell was not expecting that. We could see Phil Harris coming out of the pits as they were coming out of the straight down into 1, but he's closed down that gap and he's got past Jake Sorrell. Importantly, he did that early on, isn't it? And now look at this, he's on he's on Dylan Platt. Phil Harris into 11. And he's overtaking in all the places you don't expect anyone to overtake at this moment in time.
No, and Phil's really looking very solid for this one.
He's looking awesome. I've got to say, Phil Harris really coming through there. You can see Dylan Platt and Jake Sorrell in the background, but yeah.
He's on fresh set tyres, only 6 seconds behind Callum White, so yeah. He's really looking good.
He's definitely looking strong. Came in obviously on the end of lap 21. Callum White coming round now into the pits as I thought. So Callum's... who's that? That's Callum. He spun out. He was going to go into the pit. Is he in the pits? He is showing him as in the pits, but it looked like he was on track. So a bit of a glitch there by the looks of it.
Callum was in the pits, but Cameron Widdowson...
Oh, is it Cameron Widdowson? Oh, that's what threw me. Oh, okay. So that was Cameron Widdowson, unfortunately, spinning there.
He's got blue flags now as well, so he has to get out of the way of the faster people.
So Cameron Widdowson dropping to the back of the field. Phil Harris at the front of the field and doing a great job, and he's pulling away from Dylan Platt quite convincingly. Not surprisingly, obviously Dylan's got that front wing damage, and he's also got older set of medium tyres. Now the question is what is Dylan going to do here? I commented earlier that really I thought he should come in. Your comment, and you know, equally as valid comment, he's comfortable, he's staying out there, that's fair enough, but it seems to me that he's just losing too much time. He has got through the field, he got past Jake Sorrell, and it was a fantastic combat between them, but that isn't helping his tyres and it isn't helping his times, and at the moment he's 6 seconds off the back of Phil Harris.
Is he? No,
sorry, Jake Sorrell's 6 seconds. Sorry, he's 3 seconds. Sorry, Jake Sorrell's 6 seconds off the back of him. Yeah, Dylan's 3 seconds off the back of him.
Ross going for Jake at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. Ross Milburn, Jake Sorrell. Ross Milburn trying to get past that Ferrari. Going to try his best into 16 here.
Oh, Dylan's coming in.
So Dylan is in. Ross Milburn assumes P3, Jake Sorrell moves up to P2, and I was saying earlier on that we were going to see Jake Sorrell assume first place for at least a couple of laps on this Grand Prix, but Phil Harris scuppered that for him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Definitely did. Just looking at all things, lots of things happening. Dylan Platt's going onto the hard tyre.
So,
a lot of pit stops and
yeah, so number of stops going on at this moment in time. We've reached that point, so we'll wait for those to take effect. In the meantime, we're watching Ross Milburn get past Jake Sorrell. He's going to breathe a big sigh of relief on that one. So Ross Milburn has got past Jake Sorrell. He's moved up into that P2 position. Jake Sorrell is in P3. Ryan Lear for Alfa Romeo, P4. Gary McKenny, solid race from McKenny, I've got to say. We haven't seen him in the mix, we haven't been following too much, but he's put in a solid race, McKenny.
He has, for sure. He's only 4 seconds behind Ryan Lee at the moment. Oh, we got yellows in 3.
Sector 3, yellows.
Cameron spun out. Coming out of the... what's it called?
12, 13. Oh, 11. 11 as you go up the uphill left into
the other
12.
one, 13 then.
13, yeah.
Yeah, he's having a hard time on those things. Well, it's his first ever league race. So even if he just finishes this race, he's really just done a nice job. He's doing a nice job, so anyways. But.
Absolutely. And it is worthwhile bearing in mind, obviously, these new drivers, some of them do have league racing experience, some of them may not. I doubt that any of them have the experience of 100% league races at all. And it really does put...
Although a few of them.
Yeah, Phil Harris is the only...
100% races,
but certainly out of the new guys, none of them have.
Yeah.
So this is totally new territory for them. So we expect in the first 2 or 3 races that they find their feet and then they come through. So good run certainly there from Callum Widdowson. Not the race I'm sure he'd like to be having, but at the end of the day, all he's got to do is cross that line at the end of the race, lap 56, hopefully, and pick up some points, because let's be honest, we've got 13 runners and riders. We're on lap 25, not even halfway through. I expect we're likely, historically, to see probably another 1 or 2 DNFs, which could start making it more interesting in the points.
Yeah, we could, especially when if the rain comes. This track, I was lucky enough to do Q3 in the wet last Thursday, and it's the cars are being, especially on this track, because it's very flat, off-camera corners. It's really hard to keep the car going straight. So I do see some things happening. Later stages of this race. We actually got a nice 3-way battle for...
Yeah, Daniel Burt
8,
has
9,
just
and 10.
got ahead of Adrian Rich. So Daniel Burt gets ahead of Adrian Rich, pulls up into 8th place. Adrian is in 9, but he's got Sean Gregory on his heels at this moment in time. Sean Gregory makes the move into turn 1 with that DRS and gets ahead of Adrian Rich. Sean Gregory moves up to P9. Adrian Rich drops down to P10. He's on the hard compound tyre, but then again, so is Sean Gregory, only slightly fresher. So it's be interesting to see how deep Jake Sorrell goes on this opening stint with those hard compound tyres. I'm just going to be keeping an eye on that one. Tony Foster for Ferrari is now in P11.
P4, 5, 6 is going to be interesting. Back straight now.
Yeah, indeed. Very interesting indeed. So we're on board with Jake Sorrell. He's got Callan on his tail and Gary McKenny ahead of him. And look at this. Look at Callan there trying to get on that inside. Gets alongside the Ferrari of Jake Sorrell. Needs to pull away, but he's got Gary McKenny ahead of him. What is he going to do? Jake Sorrell keeps the place, round 16. Callum White close in behind him. They've all got DRS here. You can see Jake Sorrell closing down now to Gary McKenny. But look at Callum. Callum coming through there, round 2 into
So
3,
confident.
wheel to wheel. Gets ahead of Jake. So Callum in the Mercedes, Callum White gets ahead of Jake Sorrell in that Ferrari. He's now going to be chasing down Gary McKenny ahead of him. Now this is interesting because he's on 4-lap-old hard compound tyres. Gary McKenny's on 7-lap-old mediums, so you would say it's advantage McKenny, but Callum, great driver.
Fast driver as well.
Yeah. So I get the sneaking suspicion he's looking to be making the move on him on that straight. He's down to 4/10. There's that activation detection line there. And he's 4/10 off the back of him. He needs to maintain that as they come down round 13 towards 14 now. He will have DRS on that McLaren. Gary McKenny going defensive, defending his line. Good defence there from McKenny. But Callum Oh, a little bit of a wobble. Round 15. Gary McKenny maintains his place though. Callum White still in behind him, albeit very, very close indeed. Should get it now down into turn 1. Slots in behind him, pulls out, getting ready to come round that turn 1. But look at that, Gary McKenny holds that inside line. So very, very close between these two guys at this moment in time as they come round 3 into 4. But Callum pushes ahead now, gets ahead of the McLaren. Good move there from the Mercedes driver. Callum White moves up to P4. Gary McKenny down to 5. And let's have a look at it because Sean Gregory now is closing in the Toro Rosso on the back of Daniel Burt. So he's closed down on that start-finish straight DRS. Coming out of 4 now. 5 tenths off the back of Daniel Burt. So they come down to turn 6. He's going to try and see if he can maybe make the move round 7, but I think he's a little bit too far behind. He may have to slot in behind that Haas and wait for the DRS opportunity he's going to have down that back straight out of 13. But defending well. Sean Gregory indeed closing down to him now. 3 tenths off the back of him. Loses a little bit round 12. Gains round 13. Should be a straightforward move. Daniel Burt trying to break any toe that he's got on there. He's got the DRS. Look at him, gets right in, then walks in the slipstream, then whoop, pulls out. There you go. But Daniel Burt hanging on in there, hits that apex beautifully, stays ahead. Great run from Daniel Burt, got to say. He's really defending well on his line, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. It's very, very mature driving from both of them, to be honest.
Yeah, great driving there. Daniel Burt stays ahead of Sean Gregory as they're coming around 3 into 4 now. Now this is the opportunity. Sean Gregory needs to try and lay down the power, at least get alongside. He could, if he can, try and get on the outside of Daniel Burt down into 6, hit that apex and get a better exit on there. That's what he's going to be looking for. Not able to close down enough, and Daniel, good exit out of that turn 6 into 7. And this is going to, this is a bit of a battle here, isn't it? This is definitely not going to be easy for Sean Gregory.
No, just needs to keep the pressure on Daniel Burt, and hopefully Daniel Burt's going to make a mistake then for him. But if not, it's just a really nice fight to look at.
Yeah.
It's, like I say, very mature driver from both of them.
Yeah, very close indeed. And again, Sean Gregory, a little bit closer now. Closer to the low end of the 4 tenths. This is a great opportunity for him. He's up to 5 tenths now. This is where he needs to make it count. Going to try and get in as tight as he can on the gearbox of Daniel Burt. Probably going to break right into that apex. Yes, indeed. That's exactly what he does. He's got control of the apex. That's what he wants. He needs to lay down the power now. But look at that exit. Daniel Burt there. Fantastic control. Good power control, and stays ahead again of Sean Gregory.
Yeah, really nice way. Sean coming again inside the line now. So I would suspect Daniel's going to try to do the cross on him.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
He
this
does
corner
look.
is really a corner made for
Oh,
this
wheel to wheel contact there between the Toro Rosso and the Haas. But Sean Gregory eventually getting past Daniel Burt. But great driving from both those guys. Hard fought. Sean Gregory gets through, moves up to P8.
Is he going to be able to walk away now? I think he is. The looks of things.
Yeah, he's starting to pull away already. Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo is in P7. Came in, went onto those hard compound tyres. Jake Searle still out there. How deep can he go on these hard compound towers? I mean, it's helped him. He did move up, but now this is the point where it's starting to hinder him, isn't it? Because he's slowing down.
Yeah.
He's reaching the the end of the lifespan of these tyres, and he's got a number of drivers closing down on him. Dylan Platt definitely closing down on him here, isn't he?
It is hurting him at the moment. If he goes into the pits now, he comes out at P11. Oh, he comes in now.
Yeah, so he's going to be
come back.
He's going to be going on to the
P10.
mediums. I definitely think he's going to be going on to the mediums here.
I would think so, yeah.
So Dylan Platt
Well,
up
30 laps
into
on the mediums. I was going to take
P6.
a nose change as well. It's unexpected.
Okay,
Going to drop back even further.
so he's lost a bit more time because he's gone
He
for
got
a
to the
nose
soft
change.
tyres.
So he's going on to the softs, maybe because of that nose change. Gary McKenny is up into 5th place. Callum White is in P4. Ryan Lear for Alfa Romeo's in P3. Only 1.6 seconds off the back of Ross Milburn in that Toro Rossa. But Phil Harris, what a fantastic race from Phil Harris there. He's really putting in a great show here, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. Haven't really, like I say, I haven't even talked about him yet, but he's just invisible, just does what he does best. 13 seconds in the lead.
And that's an important gap at this stage of the race, isn't it, Nicky?
Yes, it is. It is a very important gap because you can actually, because Ross is going to fall away behind him because he's on older tyres. So he's really looking comfortable for the win at this moment, I would say.
Yep, indeed. We've got 24 laps remaining of this race. We're past the halfway point. This is F1 Tonight UK Season 1 Race 3 here in China at the Shanghai International Circuit. Phil Harris leading the way, dominating this race immediately from the start, really, wasn't it? I mean, he has just dominated from the start here.
Yeah, he was lucky with the crash that took out Thomas and Tom because they were really up there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
From there on out, he really just went for it. And he's actually pulling away from Ross at this moment in time as well. The gap is increasing.
It is indeed. So Phil Harris is opening up that gap to Ross Milburn, who's currently in 2nd place in the Toro Rosso. Gotta say, fantastic start here for Ross Milburn on his inaugural race with F1 Tonight. Lest we forget, he did start towards the back of the grid, and actually, let's have a quick look at where he actually was. He was actually, oh my goodness, P11, 9 places. Yeah. That's a fantastic run, a good show there from Ross Milburn, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. Not sure what tyres he was on first, but I think it was mediums.
Yeah.
Not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was. I think no, he might have been on the softs actually, because a lot of the runners at the back were on the softs.
I can see that actually.
He might well have been on the softs there.
So he started on the soft tyres.
Yeah, I thought so, and gone on to the mediums. Ryan Lear, in the meantime, has moved up into that P3 position. He's moved up 4 places from 7. So great start from, great start and good race so far from Ryan. Callum, well, he did start in P2. He's dropped down 2 to 4, but he's fighting back, so I wouldn't expect him to stay in that position. Gary McKenny in the McLaren up 1 from 6. Dylan Platt down 5, but that's not a true representation. He's had damage on his car. He's come into the pits as well. We've got yellows in sector 1, nobody going out.
I think there was Cameron Whitterson backing off for a blue flag.
Yeah. Sean Gregory is in P7 for Toro Rosso. Daniel Burt for Haas is P8. Jake Sorrell is in P9. P10, Adrian Rich for Red Bull. Tom Johnson there for McLaren. New driver P11. Tony Foster for Ferrari 12. And Callum Widdowson for Renault in 13. Bring up the rear, stay in there, because believe you me, anything can happen, and it normally does. So still points available, although he's out of the points at this moment in time, as is Tony Foster and Tom Johnson. But Phil Harris, as I said, leads the way. Let's get back now and have a look on those tyres, because this is going to start to come into play here. So Phil Harris, he's on the mediums. We're pretty sure he can go, what, about another 10, 14 laps, I guess, on those medium tyres. We've got Ross Milburn, he's in second, he's on 21 lap old mediums.
Yeah, his tyres are 12 laps old, so he should be able. I've seen people do 23 laps on them, so yeah, another 11 laps on them.
Yeah, that means that Ross Milburn's likely to be coming in fairly soon, and that will release Ryan Leah to assume that second place position, and he's then going to be, well, 19 seconds off the back of Phil Harris. Now, Phil Harris, to me, is looking very much like he's going to have a pit in his pocket very soon.
Not yet, I don't think. I think it's a bit too soon.
It is soon, but I think
if
within the next few laps.
The pits now, he'll probably come out P4.
I don't think he's going to come in the pits now. I suspect he's going to stay out and he's going to open up that gap, because obviously Ross Milburn is going to be coming in. That means that then Ryan Leah, he's going to be round about 19 seconds off the back of him. But the important one here, actually, let's have a look here, because Callum White is closing down now on Ryan Leah. So Callum closing down to Ryan. Remember, he's on those hard compound tyres, Ryan on the softer medium compound tyres. So it's going to be interesting to see. But we've seen Callum work well with these hard compound tyres, equally as we've seen Jake Sorrell in that Ferrari work well with them. So they're clearly getting the performance out of them.
Yeah, Jake actually, I think, is the man fastest lap at the moment. Yes, it is. Jake is really man on the move. Obviously, he's new soft tyres, so he should. He's got quite a gap to, not the gap to, I think, only 4 seconds to Daniel Bird, but I do see him climbing some places still.
Yeah.
Sean Gregory's in front of me as well with 21 lap old mediums, hards. He's definitely going to come in.
Callum getting past Ryan Leah on track, and that's important for Callum. So he's moved up into that P3 position. So Callum White moves up to P3. He's still got Ryan Leah on his tail. But I think Ryan
will not give up very easily.
No, definitely not. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And he's fighting back hard, isn't he? Now, he needs to stay on that gearbox of that Mercedes ahead of him to take advantage out of that back straight out of 13. And I've got to say, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He should be probably 8/10 off the back of him as they hit the detection zone, but that Mercedes is really moving. So they're coming round 10 down to 11 now. Ryan Leah. Yeah, indeed, he's 9/10 off the back. He will have DRS, so he will be able to close down that gap. But Callum is definitely pulling away. So what can Ryan do? How close can he get on the back of that Mercedes? We're on lap 36 of 56, 20 laps remaining. This is going far too quickly, Nicky.
That's going very quickly. We've actually got a kid better for P10, 11 and 12 as well. So Tony Foster overtaking Tom Johnston at the moment.
Yeah, indeed.
Another rookie with us tonight.
Tony Foster in the Ferrari. Good move from him. Takes that P11 place from Tom Johnson. Rookie driver in the McLaren. So Now this is important because Tony's now next target is going to be Adrian Rich, and he's only 1.2 seconds ahead of him, and it's
White
important.
Very much closing up on Ross Milburn. Very much closing up. I could put the shovel out.
Yeah.
Shovel his way forward.
Right, quick, pass me a Kleenex so I can clean my visor, Ross. Yeah, indeed, Callum got past Ryan very quickly, closed down to Ross Milburn. And I'm sure Ross is more than aware, but Ross will be coming into the pits, I suspect, probably at the end of this lap.
Yeah,
So he might well just move aside and let Callum through. But somehow, I don't think he's going to want to make it that easy for him. I don't know why. Call me cynical, but I can't see it happening.
No, he's not. He's really still defending, to be honest.
Yeah, he is. Big time defending. So, Callum, and he's staying out. Ross Milburn is staying out. Now, this is the question. Is Callum going to be able to take him? He's got a DRS. Is he going to be able to make the move? Moves out in preparation, gets on the inside, ready for that turn one.
Oh, Callum
has retired.
Crashed out.
Oh, what a shame. Callum Widdowson has DNF'd. Is it Cameron? Oh, sorry, I've got him as Callum. I thought so. I keep calling him Cameron. I promise you that I will have your name down to a T for Baku. So apologies for that. So unfortunately, Cameron Widdowson goes out, but a good run from him. He got up to lap 38. That is a good run.
Someone else spun out. Tony Foster spun as well.
Oh yeah, Tony Foster indeed gone on to the grid there, making sure nobody in behind, and
pushing a little bit too hard on the fresh tyres.
Yeah, and again he's got to watch it because he's got the dirt on those tyres now. He's got to be careful. And he lost it round turn 8, by the looks of it, out on the 7 into 8.
Yes.
So
the transition from left to right.
Yeah, exactly. Easily done, especially on the fresher compound tyres. So Tony Foster is in 11. That's a great shame because he's dropped substantially now behind Adrian Rich because he was very close in behind him. He was only 1.2 seconds off the back of him. He's now 19 seconds. So that's affected his race, but let's see how he comes back from that. Adrian Rich is in 10th place, so he's in the points. Then we have Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso, closing down on Daniel Burt.
Again,
indeed.
Tony Foster just picked up a 3-second time penalty. I haven't seen that many time penalties.
No, to be fair, I think that's probably only the first or second one that I've seen time penalty-wise. For those of you unfamiliar, we race under strict racing conditions, and that means that should the drivers have all 4 tyres outside of that white line that you see on the edge of the track, left and right, then they incur a penalty point, or in this case 3 penalty points for each incursion, and then that is added to their time at the end of the race. And you may think, well, 3 seconds, that's not that much, but you get 1 or 2 of those, even 1, it can make the difference on a podium place, can't it? And indeed a points finish.
Yeah, it certainly can. We've seen that in Australia with Tom Stevens. He crossed the line at first place and then actually finished after the penalty points P5. So
yeah, exactly.
Really, it can hurt quite badly.
Yeah, it certainly can. We're riding on board at this moment in time with Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. He's closing down on Daniel Burt, but equally, Daniel Burt is looking to close down on Jake Sorrell ahead of him in the Ferrari. You can see the red car just coming into turn 9. That is Jake Sorrell in that Ferrari. So we were seeing a fight here for P7 and P8. Daniel just dropping out of the DRS now on Jake, but Sean Gregory is well within the DRS now on Daniel Burt. Lost a little bit of time round 12 there on him. Always seems to gain round 13 though, and he's in a great position now to take that place from him, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Sean Gregory overtaking Daniel.
Yeah. But,
easy move, easy enough anyways.
Yeah, well, don't discount Daniel. We've seen him come back on Sean on this corner, but this time Sean gets it right, stays ahead, but Daniel will have DRS. Is he close enough? He's 5/10 off the back of him. Sean trying to break the toe, you can see.
Not got ERS left at all.
Yeah. So no ERS remaining for Sean. Daniel has plenty left, so this could be an interesting little battle that's going to develop here between these guys.
Yeah, I think Jake, his tyres are gone. I think, because he's really losing lots of time at the moment.
He's pushed hard on those soft compound tires. I would have expected him to go a little bit deeper, unless he's got a scrub set that he used during the qualifying session. I don't think so, but I would have expected him to go to 15 laps or thereabouts on those.
Yeah, but he's really looking. He's really losing lots and lots of time.
So Sean,
Gary McKenny nearly got a free pit stop on him. Oh,
yeah.
I think Woods.
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Just seen some drops of rain. I am indeed.
You are indeed. So we're on lap 41 of 56.
Drops of rain.
And the rain is starting to come down. The rain does not fall on the plain in Spain. It falls on the track in China.
Tom Johnston coming in now to the pits.
Now, this is the question.
Inters.
Well, it's a bit early. It's a bit early, isn't it?
It's a little bit early, but then again, like I said, this track really becomes very slippery very quickly.
So Tom Johnson in the McLaren, first man to come out on the Inters. So it's going to be interesting to see, and immediately going off.
Yeah, he just getting out of the way of the blue flag.
Yeah, indeed, he's got a blue flag, so he's letting the drivers through. It's going to be interesting to see how Johnson works with these and what advantage he's going to be gaining by being the first man coming in on those. So now we need to watch these guys on the track and when they will come in. At this moment in time, Phil Harris is staying out. Callum White is coming round now. Now, is Callum going to go into the pits? Is he going to stay out? He stays out.
Stay out as well.
Ross Milburn coming round turn 15 now. Is he? He's in the window though. He's on 28 lap old mediums. He's in the window to come in.
Yeah, he is. Really, I'm just surprised they're not coming in, to be honest.
Ryan Lear staying out. Dylan Platt staying out. Gary McKenny is coming down to 14 now. Is he gonna follow his teammate Tom and go on to these Inters? I think he is, you know.
No,
he's staying out as well. So
Jake Sorrell's going to be the next one.
Jake Sorrell coming up now to 14.
I think Jake can only gain from going in now.
Yeah, to be fair, because it seems as if those soft tyres have pretty much had it. But no, he's staying out as well. Sean Gregory stays out. Daniel Burt. So this is this is interesting. Adrian Rich a little bit further behind. He's just coming around 7 now. And he's struggling. He's still there.
Keep an eye on Tom Johnston to see what his time's going to be.
Jake Sorrell picks up a 3-second time penalty, not what he wanted. But still a gap there. But I mean, Tom's looking okay. He's not fast, but he's certainly holding the track. So everyone's staying out.
I think he might have been a little bit too quick with responding to Inters.
I've got to say, I'm inclined to agree. I would have probably left it maybe another 12 laps. I would suspect that we're going to see the guys coming in, maybe not even at the end of this lap. I suspect we're probably going to see them coming in at the end of lap 44, 45.
Ross is coming in. Ryan is coming in. Callum and Phil stayed out. But Ross Milburn and Ryan Lear stays out as well.
They've come in, so they will be going on to the intermediate tyres. Gary McKenny coming round. I'm sure Gary's going to go on to those inters. He's gone really, really wide out of 14. So he's going to be coming in, I'm sure, and going on to those inters. Yes, he is indeed.
So he's going in.
Jake Sorrell is coming round now. Surely Jake now will be coming. Yeah, and he's really gingerly going round that turn 14, taking it very, very steady and slow. He's going to be coming in. So Jake Sorrell.
He's too fast. He's too fast.
Oh,
Sean
Gregory is DNF'd. He lost it on the exit of 15. Went onto the grass and straight into that barrier. What a great shame. Sean Gregory for Toro Rosso DNFs out of turn 15 on lap 43. Sorry, yeah, it was lap 43. And he is out of the race. Oh, that was great. But that just goes to show it's that grip, isn't it? He came around 15, went wobbly.
That's Tony Foster gone as well.
Tony Foster's gone as well. So Tony Foster has gone out as well, and that's is that sector 2 he's gone out.
Yeah,
so
coming out turn 8 into turn 9.
Oh, right. So again, that change of camber, 8-9, lost it there. So Tony Foster, first DNF, I think, from Tony Foster so far this season.
Yeah, it is.
So
Phil coming in, Callum coming in now.
And you can see, look at this, Jake Sorrell getting past Tom Johnson, lapping him there, and Jake Sorrell looking quite comfortable in those intermediates. So let's quickly run through the fields. Only man remaining is Dylan Platt. He's just coming into the pits now. So Dylan Platt
Adrian's
into the pits.
Out as well, coming out the hairpin.
Yeah, Adrian Rich.
They waited way too long to go to the
inters. Yeah.
Well, this is what I meant as well. With
it's quick, isn't it?
Yeah, when it goes quickly.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I've still got that up there, so I do apologise. Getting a little bit carried away there, left the tag up. But Adrian Rich into the pits. So, a lot of action going on now with these laps, and we've got 12 laps remaining. Now, the question is how long is this rain going to last? Is it going to last till the end of the race? Is it going to abate? And if it does, when do the guys come in? How far is it going to be? There's a lot of questions still unanswered
or is
here.
It just a quick shower?
Yeah. Well, it is, isn't it? I mean, it's a lot of questions because this really is going to affect it. If they go to the end of the race, they're looking okay. But it could equally fall off, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, Tom Johnson nearly losing coming out of 15.
Well, Tom needs to concentrate now on just staying on the track and finishing this race because he will pick up a championship point. He's in P10. All he's got to do is just stay on that track. So, Tom, if you've got anyone listening to the stream or watching the stream, take it easy. Just cross that finish line because those points will count, I can assure you. So, Phil Harris leads the way at this moment in time. And one can almost say almost a faultless race from Phil Harris.
Alfa Romeo doing really good in this race as well. P4, P5 at the moment.
Indeed. Callum White is up in P2 in that Mercedes. He's looking strong for a podium finish, got to say. And then we have Ross Milburn. And Ross Milburn, let's not forget, rookie driver. And he's on a podium finish, Nicky.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought, indeed? Well, he's looking good. He's 11 seconds off the back of Callum White. Now, the only person I can see that's going to challenge him in these remaining 9 laps, well, 2 drivers, and that's the guys that you were just commenting on, which is obviously the Alfa Romeo guys. We've got Ryan Lear. He's 2.7 seconds off the back of Ross at the moment in time, and then we've got his teammate Dylan Platt, who's just under 4.5 seconds off the back of him. Obviously big gaps, but that said, when you're looking at these sort of wet conditions, not so big, because all it takes is one spin, one mistake, and that's it.
Yeah, we just looked at the lap times of Ross, Ryan and Dylan. Ross is actually the one that's got the fastest lap in the inters from those 3. Oh, Ryan outbraking himself. Was that 11?
That's 11 into 12. So at this moment in time, the guy that is looking faster on track is what you're saying to me, Nicky, is Ross Milburn then?
Yeah, he's looking really good for that P3 position at the end of this race. Only 10 laps remaining, so interesting.
Yeah, I said 9 laps. I wasn't counting properly. You're
it's
right.
11.
It's 11, but never mind. I tried to sort of like cover that over and brush it off, but then you had to highlight it by saying there was 10 laps left, didn't you, Nicky?
Just had to spoil your cars.
Yeah, nothing new there, mate. Nothing new there. So, this is looking very good at this moment in time for Toro Rosso to get a podium finish. Mercedes for Callum White, and obviously Rocket Williams with Phil Harris. But there are a few here that could still spoil the party. Ryan Lear certainly in that Alfa Romeo, and Dylan Platt.
Oh, you left. Oh, never mind. Sorry for that.
That's all right. I'll let you off. Don't do it again. Gary McKenny is currently in P6, and his new teammate Tom Johnson is in P10. Good points here. Good points here to be potentially had for that McLaren team, isn't there? I mean, McLaren.
Important points.
Important. I mean, they're currently sitting 4th in the championship behind Toro Rosso. There's only 5 points difference at this moment in time. Obviously, Russ Milburn, if he stays in that position, will be picking up 15 points. But equally, Gary McKenny and his teammate, they could be picking up 9 points. So they could sort of narrow that gap. It would still be around about 10 points difference between them. But they're keeping it to a reasonable gap, aren't they?
We've got Tom Johnson actually going for the wet tyres now instead of Inters.
Oh, now that is interesting. Tom was the first one, remember, to go on to the Inters. He's now decided to go on to the wets. I've got to say, I don't necessarily agree with that call. I don't think there's enough water on the track to warrant him going on to those wets, and he's going to have problems with heat.
He's going to have problems with overheating the tyres, to be honest, I think, because it doesn't appear to be raining that massively. Interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on his times, comparing it to Adrian.
Well, he's going to have to watch those temperatures, and he's going to have to be going on to basically going off the racing line to keep those temperatures cool. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out for him. So we're on lap 47 of 56. There are now 9 laps remaining, Nicky. Did you know that?
Oh, did you? I think you said that like 2 laps ago.
No. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I didn't, mate. Pretty sure I didn't. No, there's definitely 9 laps now. So 9 laps remaining for this Grand Prix. We are F1 tonight, in case you hadn't read the banner going across the top of your screen. This is F1 Tonight UK. We are here for Season 1, Race 3 in China at the Shanghai International Circuit. Not national, international, bear in mind. And it's panned out to be a great race. We started in the dry. Looks like we're going to be finishing in the wet. Phil Harris, who we're on board with at this moment in time, has pretty much dominated the race. Although that said, obviously, we were speaking to Tom Stevens earlier. Unfortunately, went out in a collision or fracas, let us say, with his teammate Callum White. Yeah, he took it well though, didn't he, Tom? He was really dealing with it quite well, so I was quite impressed with that. And for those of you that didn't catch it, I will mention it again. Tom Stevens has got through to the eSports series of F1 2019. He has qualified. He will be racing this Thursday for potentially getting through into the actual final championship. So we are all wishing him well here at F1 tonight, and really hope he achieves that goal, because he is a fantastic driver and racer. His racecraft's coming along. He's not too bad, is he?
No, he's average.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. So that's for Tom. So all the best, mate. Don't forget though, Thursday night, don't watch Tom, because he doesn't want you to watch him. Tom actually said himself he wants you to watch the F1 Tonight Netherlands League, who are racing on Thursday night. So that's Thursday night from 7:30. And where are you going to be this Thursday, Nicky? Where is it you're going to be? Which track is it you're going to be at?
Baku.
Baku in Azerbaijan. It's got to be the fastest street circuit.
It is.
Certainly so far. We've got to wait till, I think it's 2021 for Vietnam, which is supposedly going to be even faster. But we
2020, I think it's next year.
Is it next year? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is.
Next year, 2020.
And Zandvoort as well.
Okay. Oh, and Zandvoort, of course. We can't forget Zandvoort in Netherlands, of course.
Tom Johnson nearly ploughing into the back of Ross
Yeah,
Milburn
I can
there.
see that. It was
really
back
close.
of Ross Milburn. That was very close out of 14. So Ross Milburn, bit of an escape there from the McLaren of Tom Johnson. And in the background there, though, Dylan Platt going very, very wide out of 16. So he is closing down to Ross, but not as much as I thought he might. It's still, closer to 3 seconds than it is to 2.5, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously Ross had a little bit of Tom Johnson to amend with.
Yeah.
So he lost a little bit of time, but Dylan Platt's absolutely flying out of the third and fourth and fifth place.
Well,
Dylan is by far the fastest.
Well, remember, Dylan was actually behind his teammate, if I remember rightly, wasn't he, Ryan? Was he behind him?
Yeah,
he was. So he's got ahead of his teammate. So Dylan now is charging through to close down to Ross Milburn ahead of him. He is 2.5 seconds or thereabouts ahead of him. There are now 7 laps remaining for this race. Anything can happen. It probably will, and some of it already has. But Dylan Platt is looking to chase down his opportunity of getting on that podium and picking up 15 championship points. He's got 2.286 seconds is all the difference. And he is closing down, certainly, on Ross at this moment in time. And they are on equal sets of tyres, more or less. They are on the intermediates. And I've got to say, that rain is getting heavier.
Is it, though?
I don't know, but the racing line is looking good. I think the rain is getting heavier, but the racing line is looking good. So I still don't think it's wet tyre conditions, in all sincerity.
Tom was actually coming in now as well to get a set of, I would suspect a set of Inters again.
Yeah, I suspect that Tom's coming in to get onto those Inters. And as I said earlier, I mean, all he needs to do is finish this race, cross that line, and he picks up a championship point. And that's very valuable to have, certainly.
Yeah, he's getting Inters again.
So we are once again on board with Phil Harris as he comes round Sector 3, turn 12 into 13 of lap 50.
Callum was actually gaining on Phil as well.
Yeah.
The gap has come down from 16 to 12 seconds.
Oops.
So
It has.
I don't think Phil's going to give this one away in any way, shape or form.
To be honest, I just think the gap's too big. The gap's too big. I mean, 12 seconds, 6 laps. That means he's going to have to take 2 seconds a lap out of Phil Harris's time, and that is just not going to happen, barring any incident. And I say barring any incident because, let's be fair, take one mistake and you can lose easily 5, 6, 7 seconds, which could mean that Callum could close down on him. But the way Phil's racing, I can't see him making any mistakes.
Dylan nearly within the second.
Yeah, Dylan is really
obviously
closing
no DRS
down.
anymore, so it really comes down to ERS management and obviously to your confidence on the wet tyres, on the wet track. But nearly within the second, so yeah.
Well, he's not far off it. You can see there, you can see his target ahead of him. As you say, no DRS, obviously, under wet weather conditions, for those of you unfamiliar. So DRS is deactivated, but you heard Nicky mentioning the ERS. We haven't spoken much about ERS. We did mention it in the first race. ERS is an electronic system that harvests energy into a battery when you're braking, etc. It stores that energy and then it releases it in the form of, if you like, I suppose it's an I think you called it a nitrous, electrical nitrous, Nicky. So it basically gives you a sudden boost of power, which is around about 150, 160 brake horsepower, isn't it?
Somewhere around that, yeah. Depending on the car, obviously, but yeah, it's somewhat about 160 horsepower that you gain from that. And that can really make a difference. As you can see, Dylan really within 3 seconds of him now. So that third place spot is not settled yet.
Well, we said that Ross was going to come under pressure from one of those alphas. Clearly, that pressure is come from Dylan Platt. What Ross has got to do really now is just stick to his racing line and try as hard as he can to defend that position. But it's not going to be easy with the likes of Dylan Platt coming down. And Dylan's already got ahead of him. Can he make it, though? Look, Ross holding that apex. Very, very close between the two of them. Dylan just about scrambling past. But Russ Milburn will be looking now to close down that gap and do the same. ERS-wise, they're pretty equal, I've got to say. So they've managed their ERS well. This is going to be a fight to the finish, I think, here, Nicky.
I do think so, yeah. All it takes is one little mistake. Just spin out so easily, especially with these guys because they don't run traction control. So it's even easier then to spin out. So yeah, this is going to take us to the finish, I think, this fight.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Callum has closed the gap to 10 seconds now. So he is gaining a lot, but he's not going to make it.
I can't see it. Mind you, he did take out those two. Well, no, we've got 4 laps remaining. He's basically doing about a second a lap closing down, which just isn't going to be enough. But I could see Dylan there squirming a bit on the acceleration when he laid down the power. So that was interesting because that to me says that that's a potential for a spin, especially under these conditions. So he's got to be careful as to how he's laying down that power because he does not want that car twitching, certainly on certain corners. And I would say around 12, 13 is a definite one there. And also out of 14 as well. So Ross Milburn keeping it clean, 7/10 still off the back of Dylan Platt, but he needs to try and get past him. Beautiful turn from both drivers there, got to say, hitting the apex on 14, really coming round well. You've got to remember,
car control.
Yeah, great control. You've got to remember these guys have done 53 laps. They won't be used to it, and they've got 3 laps remaining. I think the thing that's keeping them going here is adrenaline, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think so. Yeah, I mean, if you race, you really get into a zone, and yeah, for me, it just comes automatically. Well, we've got a yellow flag in 3rd sector somewhere.
Yeah,
that's
it's quickly gone. I think that's somebody just going a little bit off track and then joining. So no major situation. But Ross is starting to lose a bit of time. It's up to 9/10.
Still within a second, though.
Still within a second, but not that counts so much at this moment in time. It's really a question of how they manage their ERS. And I've got to say, Dylan Platt seems to be working it better, isn't he? Because he seems to have bucket. Oh, look at that! Goes off. Oh, but Ross nearly following him there. Now this is what I was talking about. You see, 9/10. All of a sudden, he's now 4/10. But Ross breaks too deep into 11 there and loses that time. Plus, he's now 1.2, nearly 3 seconds off the back of Dylan Platt. I think, I've got to be honest with you, Nicky, with 2 laps remaining, I think that's it for Ross. Can't see him coming back from that, mate. I really can't.
Yeah, he had a little switch coming out of the 15 as well, or 13 as well, so he's still looking good.
Oh, definitely, and what an achievement, because, you know, let's not forget, and again, worthwhile pointing out, position change. He started in P11, he's gained 7 places.
Phil Harris's lap time fair to Callum, because Callum just took another 2.5 seconds out of him. And 1.5 seconds a lap, he's faster.
Well, Ross is now certainly losing time, 1.6 seconds there. But as I said, you know, great run from him. P4, started P11. Jake Sorrell, again, he's in the points, started P7. Got down to P6. He was brave going onto those hard tyres. He's done well. And Tom Johnson as well, started 14, up to 10. So good run from him. But I've got to say, I'm very, very impressed with Ross Milburn. I think he's put in a great inaugural race. So be interesting to see what happens. I think he's lost that podium place, but obviously still be picking up 12 championship points.
Yeah, I think he's just let it go now.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I can understand that.
2.8 already.
Yeah,
so,
2.8.
This is it.
I think that's pretty much it. But great comeback from Dylan Platt.
As well.
Yeah, well, it's a great comeback for him. You know, he started in that P1 position, remember. Lost that to Phil Harris. Had, obviously, damage as well, but continued going round. I've got to say, a bit questionable. Maybe if he'd come in, but, you know, the world is, especially the F1 racing world, and this, indeed, sim racing, it's all full of ifs, buts and maybes. But Dylan Platt looking solid for that P3 position and picking up those 15 championship points. Callum White as well in the Mercedes, looking for a solid P2.
Yeah, great recovery after that. Well, scary spin.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Because let's be fair, I mean, it wasn't, you know, it was out of his control. Obviously, the spin was, you could say, down to him. It was his fault. Out of control there.
Jake Sorrell actually spun out, coming out of the hairpin, and lost his front wing, did he?
Okay, well, all he's got to do is finish the lap. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think Daniel's going to be able to close down to him. We'll see. But, yeah, I mean, you know, good, solid race from Callum. He's recovered well. Got to say.
He's still gaining on Phil as well. He's not going to make it, but he's still gaining on Phil.
Yeah.
All it takes is just one little mistake and it's all over.
Well, as I said to you earlier, you know, 6, and we've discussed this before, and we've seen it so many times before, Nicky. Unfortunately, you haven't seen it from my position. You've seen it from a track position. Anything can happen, can't it? Even at these late stages, anything can happen. So nothing is set in stone until they cross that line. And as you say, 6.8 seconds off the back of Phil Harris at this moment in time. So, yeah, anything indeed can happen. So, we're on the final lap. And Phil Harris is coming round towards the final sector of that final lap. It's coming round turn 9 into 10. He's got the back marker there of Daniel Burt. Well, not a back marker because he's actually in P8. So he's going to potentially looking to lap Daniel Burt. Comes round 11. He's now in the final sector of the final lap. Daniel moves aside to let him through. Obviously, blue flag condition. Those of you not familiar again with blue flag basically means get out of my way. And this
yeah, as soon as you
not
get
to
a
put
blue
too
flag,
fine a point on
you
it.
have to let the guy behind you pass you within the 3 corners.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will get a 5-second stop and go, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is a 5 second. So we are on board with Phil Harris now as he comes round the final corner for this F1 tonight. Race 3 takes the win. Phil Harris for Rocket Williams takes the win here at China. Callum White for Mercedes finishes second. Dylan Platt for Alfa Romeo comes round 15 now into 16. He will be taking 3rd place for Alfa Romeo. And those are our podium finishers.
Ross
Fantastic
Milburn, really
race from them.
outstanding race.
Yeah, and definitely Ross Milburn, I've got to say.
And funny enough, I just looked at the fastest lap times. Tom Johnston has got the fastest lap of the race.
Really? You're kidding me?
So, yeah,
Great
instead
one.
of 1
So
point,
Tom
he gets
Johnson,
2 points.
Tom Johnson actually gets 2 points. So fantastic run there for Tom Johnson. Well done to him. And I'm sure he's going to be very happy with that. Now, that time of the race has come before we get onto the podium, Nicky. We like to do driver of the day. I haven't actually messaged you. You haven't responded. If you want to have a quick look and see whether you concur or not.
Whether I concur or not.
Whether you concur or not, sir.
Tempted to go with you there.
Yeah, I thought you might, but always good to check. So, driver of the day goes to Ross Milburn in the Toro Rosso. Great job from Ross. Certainly fantastic run for his inaugural race. Very, very close to getting onto that podium. Didn't quite make it, but a great run. Tom Johnson as well, I'll mention him, honestly, stayed in there. Finished 10th. He was 13th, and we said, stay in there. You're going to get the points. He stayed in there, and not only that, he picked up the fastest lap as well. So he actually gets double that and gets 2 points. So fantastic race there. We could see the guys collecting their cups. And as a little mention, I think what we're going to do going forward for certainly the F1 Tonight UK guys is that we may be looking to do some podium interviews. I'm not going to put that on them today because they've only just started using the communication method that we use within the races. So I want them to get familiar with that.
Plus
but
that is going to take some organisation from my side
exactly,
as well.
exactly.
So.
That means Nicky's got to do some work. So we'll give it a couple of months. But let's quickly run through.
Just looking at the classifications, only 3 guys have picked up 1 penalty each.
Yeah,
That's
1
not
penalty.
bad
That is fantastic. So quickly run through. Obviously, Phil Harris, Callum White, Dylan Platt, Ross Milburn finishes 4, Ryan Lear 5, Gary McKenny 6, Jake Sorrell 7. Good start from him. Daniel Burr 8. Adrian Rich 9, stayed in the points. Tom Johnson, great run from him, 10. 11, well, that would have been Sean Gregory, but he DNF'd, as did Tony Foster and Callum Widdowson.
Cameron
Widdowson. I am going to get it right. I promise, Cameron. I promise. For Baku, it's going to be word letter perfect. Got to say. But yeah, great race. Certainly from the guys. Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Nicky, overall.
Yeah, it's been a great race. A shame for Tom Stevenson, for Thomas Cook to be punted out of the race. But yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
But overall, it's really been an outstanding race as well for the rookies. Even though Cameron, unfortunately, wasn't able to finish it. But yeah, the other 3 did. So yeah.
Yeah, great race indeed. So don't forget, next week we will be at Baku. So Tuesday evening, that's next Tuesday, F1 Tonight UK will be at Baku for race 4 of season 1. This Thursday, we've got race 4 of season 6 for F1 Tonight Netherlands, and they will be in Baku. Nicky, you're going to be very much defending your championship lead at this moment in time. So hoping and wishing you a good race. It'd be good to see you get through that. From my side, I'm going to say good night to everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you, if not Thursday, certainly next week. Nicky?
A pleasure again. It's been a nice race to watch. Yeah, and that's all from my side. Have a good night, and see you next week.
See you all then. Take care.